Warning: this podcast may contain spoilers as well as coarse language. Viewer discretion is advised.
Toaru, mofos, welcome back to the Our Anime Podcast, and we're back with another seasonal impressions, talking about all the new anime, or some of the new anime that are coming out in fall. I'm Mozilla Fennekin, thanks for listening, and with me, once again, is Kaverick.
Hello and greetings from Mother Russia.
Hey. And back again is Fate Steel Taylor.
Hey, the Dodgers and the Red Sox are in the World Series, so I would like to be transported into a different world, please.
Me too! Look, I don't have anything against the Dodgers, but I really wanted the Brewers to win.
Right? It would have been a much better series if it was the Brewers and the Astros. Like, two former NL Central teams. Anyway, we're losing like half the viewers, so.
Sports ball. And our special guest for this season is a good friend of ours, fan of the show, Vancer.
Long-time listener, second-time caller. Now with 100% more of Avatar.
Only 90s kids remember Violet Everweekly.
Yeah, or watched it.
Episode 14, never. And so, of course, this is First Impressions. We're going to talk about pretty much all the anime that we're watching this season. Of course, we are not watching everything, and even some of the ones that we are watching, we're not going to talk about. Like, I don't have anything to say about Radiant, personally. And
or Rewrited.
More like, I'm not even going to finish that joke.
Yeah, I know the joke.
And
there is no joke.
The one thing we kind of regret is that as of recording, Tsurune, the KyoAni Archie Boys show, it's not out yet because it was delayed a week due to the earthquake that happened recently. So unfortunately, we just don't have anything to say about that because we can't watch it. But maybe in the retrospective we'll get around to it, as well as anything else we might have missed. I think I'll try something new this season where I have like a screen where I'll just list the shows that we were most positive on for anybody who has clicked on this but doesn't have enough time to watch all of it. I don't know, but consume it at your own pace. We appreciate you anyway. So the first show we're going to talk about this season is Tensei Shitara Slime Datta Ken, or That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, which is exactly what it says, and I think it's pretty great. What about you guys?
I'm not watching it.
Aw, Cav.
Isekai, no. Thank you, no.
Well, this is the season of Isekai. Well, I mean, every season is the season of Isekai at this point, but there are quite a few of them. I gotta say, so the nice thing about fall seasons for me for anime is that they always start either the weekend of or the weekend after New York Comic Con. And I go pretty much every year. I think I've gone 6 years in a row now. And they always have a Crunchyroll panel, a Funimation panel, Viz Media panel where they talk about shows that they're airing, shows that are coming up, or shows of like material that have been adapted into anime that they want to promote. So when I first saw Slime, I was like, this looks really fucking dumb. There's no way I'm going to watch this goddamn show. It's a dude who gets reincarnated as a slime. The entire plot is in the title, right? Like, why do I need to watch it? But
as is the case with light novels,
as it is.
Hang on, actually, real quick, I just want to say, just to like play off that joke, I literally just got a light novel recently. Sort of as a joke because the cover has a girl wearing a witch hat, but it's called, as it is, the whole title is the synopsis, and it's called, I've been killing slimes for 300 years and maxed out my level. And I'm like, this must be the prequel to that novel.
It's actually a Goblin Slayer slime mashup.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, it's so I picked it up. It's not been like a world beater by any chance. It's not like this reimagining of the isekai genre or anything.
Mm-hmm.
But it's fun. It's actually a lot more fun than I imagined. The voice acting for the slime is very well done. It's very fun. And it's interesting having like an adult OP character who doesn't have like childish fantasies about like what to do. So like he's a little bit more grounded than your typical isekai protagonist. There's no memory loss. He's just like, oh, like I'm a slime now. kind of sucks. But you know what? Like, I got some, like, OP skills, and that's kind of cool. See, like, it's like when you pre-order a game off Amazon, and, like, if you pre-order, they give you a bunch of exclusive bonuses for being a sucker. And that's what happened to him. He pre-ordered the slime game, and now he's super OP and can do all kinds of shit.
Yeah,
Yeah, go ahead, answer.
I mean, honestly, it was one of those things where I didn't plan to pick this up at all, and then I was just gonna watch the first episode to see, like, I'm like, oh, it's, I've got nothing to watch. I'll watch the first episode and see how bad it is. But it grabbed me immediately with this stupid random mugger coming in, just killing him, running away, and he's like, Joe, just wipe my hard drive, please. I can't let anyone find that. And I was like, I guess I'm stuck on this show now. There's no way I can't finish it after a start like that, just 5 minutes in. But I'm waiting for him to actually, like, because all we've seen so far is him hanging out with the goblins and the wolves. I want him to, like, move on and meet other people, because I already don't care about the goblins at all. I'm seeing too many this season.
Yeah, I could do with the goblins being slayed. Not gonna lie.
This is the season for goblins, I guess.
'Tis the season to be goblins.
Die. So, this, I'm kind of with you guys. Like, I also thought this was going to be, although, I don't know. It's like, okay, it does sound stupid, but at the same time, this is a really, really popular manga. Or
it is, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, okay, well, there must be some reason why people are liking this. And for what it's worth, it did sound interesting. Like, if the main character's a slime, then, like, what does he do exactly? Like, how are they going to make a story out of this? That's the only reason why I would be really interested in it. But more so than that, I'm actually surprised by, like, how well written this is. Yeah. Because, honestly, this is, like, kind of what I want the isekai sort of subgenre to be. I think that it's not necessarily a bad subgenre. It's just that it's abused. There are just there are lots of authors who just dump wish fantasy on it and don't really care about the details. Like, even something that I love, like Re:Zero, where the main character, he just appears in another world. What happened? I want to know these sorts of things. And so I really love that whole sequence in the beginning where, I mean, even though the guy kind of died in a really stupid way, I still enjoyed the cause and effect. Like, he's going through all these, he's thinking all these different things. The way he died and his final wishes, like, you hear how they become individual skills and attributes that he will then gain into another world. And that's how he becomes a slime. And I thought that was really, really cool. I really liked that. And I want to see more of that from this genre, because this is like, I think it's cool that you can have a real world character go into a fantasy world and sort of apply their knowledge into this world and things like that. And we just don't get enough of that. We get shit like fucking Isekai Smartphone, just ruining the entire genre. But this one, I'm not going to say this is saving Isekai or anything, but it's like, I feel like we're finally getting something that can at least show the potential of it.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Because it's also handling it. Probably one of my favorite isekais is Grimgar, Fantasy and Ash. Oof. And I thought that was also, because that did to me, it like set the stage where it was like, it's really weird. How did we get here? We kind of want to find out how we're getting here, but also like had that grounded, realistic tone of like, hey, like shit can go down. It's not as easy as a video game kind of you. So it's like almost the opposite way of Slime 2, because Slime very much does feel like a video game. It takes a lot of the tropes like leveling up skills, acquiring skills, that kind of thing.
Right.
But with Slime, I would also say the animation is a lot better than I imagined. It actually makes the comedy work more on point. I guess it might be easier to animate a slime than it is like an actual person.
But even like, then, they have like clever way. Oh, sorry.
Right. Oh, but I was gonna say like the dragon that he meets in episode like is very well drawn, very well animated, and like because of how serious the dragon looks, the tone of the conversation just makes it all that much more funny when you realize the dragon's kind of a tsundere.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
And I was going to say that they have like really clever ways of expressing his emotions and all, like the question mark that pops out of him and all those sorts of things. This show's like I'm also like kind of impressed with the way they're presenting it. This isn't even a studio that I like. I usually hate what 8-bit does, and their anime tend to be kind of ugly for me. But no, this one's working pretty well for me. Yeah,
they make the slime looks really good. The way they can like they make it really bouncy, and it makes it actually like more engaging to watch than if it just kind of sat there.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like just a CG blob.
Right.
Yeah, like
the frustration
like
thing is pretty fun too.
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's still early on, and I think we touched upon it already. But the pacing is kind of slow, so it feels like there's not much to talk about. I mean, if you look at the OP, like spoilers galore, like you can see what kind of happens.
Yeah,
but
I'm disappointed that the main character ends up becoming, I believe, a woman.
It looks like a guy with long hair.
Yeah, that's why I'm not sure, but I don't know. I wish he just stayed a slime. So
yeah, I can see that, but it might get kind of boring looking at a slime that can't emote super well because it's already starting to get tired. Like the gimmick is already kind of over for me, and I'm tired of looking at a slime. I don't know.
I'll admit I haven't seen episode 3. I'm actually like a week behind on a lot of these shows because I spent the last 3 days playing Out of the Park Baseball. Whoops.
Ooh, whoops. I mean, can't blame you on that.
But yeah, I mean, I guess I could see that because again, I'm kind of it's like, how are they going to make a full story out of this slime sort of thing? And this is actually kind of long. This is a 2-core show.
Yeah.
So, but I don't know. I think it's fun. It's not amazing. It's not the best show of the season, but it is at least decent and good enough for its genre, I think. And that's good enough for me. So do you guys have anything else to add?
No, that's it.
I just wanted to say that usually enough, and for me as well, isekai is just a label. It's kind of a label of shame because there are very few good isekai shows. But when a show is good, isekai show is good, people even forget that it is isekai in the first place. Like, for example, Yuja Senki last year. People
That's
just
true.
do not even remember that it's an isekai show. It's just a solid action anime. So as long as you make a strong anime with an interesting enough concept, people would not even think about it as an isekai. Isekai is kind of a buzzword these days because it's like just a generic premise which is overused by others. Right. So as long as slime is good, people would not even like think about it as an isekai. And maybe I will watch it as well if like it is getting.
We'll keep you posted.
Yes, do. Please do.
Well, speaking of, I don't have a joke for this, but the next show is it has a really long title that I'm just not even going to bother to pronounce. But it's also the English title is really terrible, and I'm not going to embarrass myself by saying it. But it's the Bunny Girl show.
Yeah. Oh, it's Buta. It's Rascal dreams of whatever, right?
Bunny Girl Senpai.
Does not dream of Bunny Girl Senpai. Yeah, it is.
It's because like it's hard to translate Buta Yarou because like it literally means like pig. Like I guess they could have like, cause like Rascal, I guess, but like it's basically like is a you pig. Like if you're like, oh, this you pig. Blah blah blah. Yeah, so like you can't really say like pig dream does like
pig boy dreams of Bunny Girl Senpai.
Yeah, so I guess they went with Rascal. I guess it could have been like, I guess there's no real good translation like unsightly fellow.
I would have unironically loved that.
That would be a fantastic title. Yeah,
it's just another peak of light novel genre titles in the genre. I don't know.
Yes.
So how do you feel about the series?
Oh, I'm really enjoying it. Unironically, I thought this was gonna be dumb. I saw the trailer for it at New York Comic Con, and I was like, "This looks really dumb. This looks like, just like real easy pandering to the otaku fan base by literally giving us a girl who is in a bunny suit." Cause like, obviously, there's a huge market for that in Japan. Given
Thank
like
you,
we just
Hari.
look at.
Yeah, and the worst part, she doesn't even spend that much time in the bunny.
She spends like
she spends like
maybe
2-3 minutes, and that's it. What is it?
But,
It's a fucking advertisement trap, man.
It's one of those light novel titles that doesn't actually have the plot.
We got
in the
tricked.
title.
We got yeah.
We were bamboozled.
We got bamboozled.
But yeah, it's I'm enjoying it. It's one of those things too where I feel like I'm kind of nervous after the first 3 episodes have ended. I think one of the things that
The anime has ended.
the anime has ended.
Really.
This like mini arc has ended. I think one of the things that worked for Monogatari was that like, which I has been a common comp for the show.
I can see that.
I feel like one of the things that worked with Monogatari is that it had like clear-cut arcs and like there were like 3-4 episodes each. And this was like a really good 3-episode arc. And then I'm like, but now how are you going to fuck this up?
It's pretty easy, like at least from my point of view. You just need to crank up the edge and
Introduce a bunch of goblins.
yeah, because I can see already that the arc with Sakuta's sister Imoto is going to be pretty edgy, probably.
It's gonna be super edgy. And then probably the arc with himself and the scar he has, it's probably gonna be edgy too.
It's probably going to be really kind of like dark and sleek. I don't know.
Yeah. I also imagine the because he brings up the other senpai that he saw on the beach that no one remembers.
Yeah, this the girl. Yeah,
it was the John
girl.
Smith who's going to shake up the world. I don't know. I just wanted to make a Haruhi reference because this reminds me. Kind of has a couple of Haruhi elements to it as well.
Are we here? I don't know. Except for the
bunny girl
suit,
suit,
I guess. Yeah, I don't know.
The bunny girl suit and the idea of like adolescence having like a huge impact, like mental state on the world itself.
I don't know.
It's like if
the whole,
yeah,
the whole I don't know, the whole supernatural aspect is not selling me on anime at all.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really awkwardly placed.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Overall, the series is not for me so far. I feel like the only really solid thing about the show is Mai herself, the main character, like the main interest for the MC. She is an interesting person. She got an interesting personality, her own circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
She seems kind of witty as well, but she also seems decently vulnerable to have some kind of depth. So she's good. Unlike Sakuta. I hate this fucking guy. I don't know why the hell people are so stoked about him at all.
Wait, really?
And yeah, I've seen it was a mistake. I went out of my way. I don't really do this, but I went to the discussion thread just to see
no, Cav, you can't do that. It's
not... what people even like about the series.
It's not 2015 anymore.
And they said like, oh, he's like Hachiman, except he's not edgy.
What?
He's like Aragi Kayomi, except he's not a pervert. He's so great. And like,
I love how that's the baseline. Being Araragi but not a pervert makes you a great character. Wow. Who knew?
Well, the main issue with Sakuta is that he's flawless, so far at least. He's really, really flat. He just does whatever he does and like just has no really any kind of problems to him. He just saves the girl and that's it. And he's even victimized just to like for some poor, I don't know, feels to evoke from the viewer. I don't know. He's really, really blonde, and just because he's witty, just because he takes the first move, doesn't mean he's a good character. Come on.
Thank you, Cav. I thought they would handle the bullying thing with him like the hospitalization rumor is better, but then like that cringe scene in episode 3 just magically resolves everything. But anyway, Vance, you were gonna say?
No, I think the reason why people are like gushing over the MC is just because it's something different, and this community isn't used to seeing something different out of MCs.
That's
because it's not just like
kind of
some whiny boy that's just kind of like, oh, I don't know what to do. Like he's actually like confident and can make a joke, which is what this community isn't used to seeing from like a lot of isekai shows. Like, because that's we were talking about that earlier, and it's just like all of them are exactly the same, so it's just something different, I guess.
Yeah, I agree that he is different, but it doesn't make him good.
I wanted to comment that I remember something very similar happening last year with what was that fucking Yojitsu, because everyone was like, hey, it's like Hachiman, it's like a cynical high school protagonist. And I haven't even seen Origairu, but I was watching this and I'm just like, I haven't seen Origairu yet. Why don't I just watch that instead? And that's why I'm not watching this. But anyway, I was just saying, I just wanted to make that point that lots of people were gushing about the main character of Yojitsu for the exact same reason, even though that show sucked.
I would also say that like I don't really see much of a comp between. I guess I could kind of see a comp between Mai and Yukino, but at least from season 1 from Origairu.
Kind of, yeah. The banter is here, and the banter is pretty solid in the show. I have to say it, yeah. I have to admit it.
It's like if you had, I'd say it's probably better than Is it better than Senjugahara and Araragi? I feel like part of that is like.
Are you asking me out of all people?
I feel like part of that is like Chiwa Saito is just so good as Gahara. That like it kind of makes it, whereas Mai is not Chiwa Saito. Even though like her voice actress is doing a good job and the lines
I wouldn't really compare it to Monogatari. I just wouldn't really compare Bunny Girl to anything. It just kind of think on its own.
Let's compare Bunny Girl to Goblin Slayer.
Let's compare everything to Goblin Slayer.
Let's compare this. You know what? Never mind.
All right, good one.
Yeah, I won't talk about the resolution to the arc because it's kind of spoilery, but I must say it's very poor.
It's super cringe. It's like, oh god, I forget. Is it the last episode of like Amagami SS Plus or whatever? I don't know if you guys have ever seen it.
No, I haven't.
It's really cringe.
Oh, okay. Yeah, whatever. I just want to say that it's not even about the final scene, the cringy one, but the way how it was presented. And I've mentioned it many times before, but I hate Amnesia as a plot. Like,
you hate what?
Point or plot. Amnesia. I hate it as a plot. Point or just like a twist. And it's really not well handled here. Yeah, and finally, let the fucking Schrödinger cat die already. It's not even funny anymore. Especially even if you don't know how to use this thought experiment. Okay? Oh god.
Yeah, it's I wish there was a tag on Mal to track whether or not the show talks about Schrödinger's cat, because I feel like that might actually be the most popular tag on Mal at this point.
Yeah, quantum physics,
everyone's
by
just
the way.
so obsessed with it. It's pretty funny. I guess it's like a thing a lot of kids learn in high school, and then they think it's like a really edgy like kind of thing. Like, oh man, imagine like something being dead and alive at the same.
It's every high school student is like, oh, I'm dead inside, but I'm alive. I associate with this cat.
Why
That's
won't
very much true, actually. Yeah, I like
someone
it.
needs to observe me so I can die already.
Well, if you guys are done with Bunny Girl Senpai, I know what we can talk about. That's both dead and alive.
Oh,
that
shit!
was a segue.
Zombieland Saga. First off, guys, if you're listening to this and you haven't seen this anime, please do yourselves a favor and watch the first episode. And if you're going to sit there and be like, but I don't really have 20 minutes to watch an anime episode, fine. Watch the first 2 minutes, okay? You will get it. You have to see this without getting any opinions of it, okay? Or else it's just not going to be... This is the Gakkou Garashi, the new Gakkou Garashi. You need to watch it with no prior knowledge to it, okay? Just trust me on this. Watch the first 2 minutes, then come back to this podcast, where we talk about the greatest anime of all fucking time, Zombieland Saga.
Yo, if you think after 2 minutes you won't get it, I'm 100% sure you'll like it. You can bet it. Good vibes, good rhymes.
Damn. Is that freestyle? Or did you write that down, Fate?
No, that was freestyle. I didn't write that down. Thank you. No, we idols up in here. Only good vibes, only good rhymes.
Ooh, okay.
But yeah, Zombieland. It's whew.
Where do I even begin with this fucking show?
At the very beginning.
Okay, so obviously the first scene was like, I was waiting for some. Okay, I saw the trailer for this before it came out, and I knew it was going to be a weird show. In fact, Tactician Jack on the Discord made like a thing. It was taking responses as to what the weird Mozilla Fennekin show of the season was going to be, aka the show that I would really like and everyone else would really hate. And this show was by far the most popular choice. Everyone was like, okay, he's going to love Zombieland Saga, and it's going to have like a 6.4 on Mal for the entire season. And okay, so anyway, the point is, but I was when it first started, I was expecting something to happen, like the whole. It was so super casual and so super normal in the beginning. I'm just like, all right, this is not going to last. But I didn't expect the twist to happen right when it did. Yeah. It's like, I kind of predicted it in my head where it's like, it'd be really funny if she just fucking died out of nowhere right here. And then it's like, oh my god, wait! I wasn't serious about that! And then, yeah, that's just... that's not
I got my roommate, Gil, who's been on this pod before. I was like, hey, you should watch the opening scene of the show. I didn't tell him the title. I didn't tell him anything about it. He's like, I hate this girl so much. I hope she gets shot. Like, as soon as she steps out that door. And then she gets hit by the truck. He's like, oh, right. Japan has, like, really strict gun laws. Like, that's a much more likely scenario.
I didn't even think about it. No, so that's why we have Truck-kun so much, because they don't want to see people shooting each other.
Truck-kun is great. And you know the best part about this Truck-kun? He didn't send her into his other world.
The worst part about Truck-kun is that he was taken out of the anime adaptation that he, like, really became famous in. And I was so salty when that episode aired. Anyway, that's a story.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, when they removed Truck-kun from the Truck-kun anime.
That was hilarious.
It was something. But anyway.
But yeah.
Truck-kun makes an appearance.
And then main character, she becomes a zombie somehow, and she meets Ko and Kyoma, and that's just where the anime truly becomes Kino.
If
it's no longer a weird Moz show of the season. It's like a mainstream popular comedy.
Yeah, now everybody loves it. Like this show,
everyone loves Miyano.
This show has more Ho and Kyoma than Steins Gate Zero.
It really does, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Steins Gate. Yeah.
And that's why it's better already.
Yeah.
Hey.
Ooh.
Correct.
Ooh. Pour one out for Steins Gate Zero.
Steins Book bi-weekly.
Hey,
good
you should
plug.
check out that series while you're watching Steins Gate Zero.
Oh yeah,
your bi-weekly Steins Gate needs.
Miyano carries the show so hard for me, at least. He is so great at comedic roles in general, and this is just an amazing anime for him. And the whole first episode was just brilliant.
Yeah.
I loved it so much. And the second as well. The third one was kind of on the awkward side for me, because I realized what I want from this show, and I really, really, really would like this anime to succeed and like be a new big anime which would people recommend on like Anime subreddit and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But it needs to play its cards well to do it. It needs to exploit and abuse its shtick, like its idea of like a dead idols, to like extent to whole ridiculous point, and there should be less of this actual idol routine, which we had plenty of in the third episode, which is why it felt kind of awkward and ordinary. And I wish it was just had more of this fun and cool concept overall.
See, a lot of people are saying that the third episode was parodying like Love Live and stuff. I'm not actually sure. We should have asked Bacon about this.
I don't really think it was like having seen all the Love Lives, I don't really think it was parodying Love Live. I think it was just doing the idol shtick.
Yeah. I think if it was doing it, then it was too tongue-in-cheek for me to really appreciate the joke.
Yeah.
It wasn't like Love Live specifically, right? Because there's, like idol animes. Like
it was like MMDs in particular.
Yeah. But it was just like, I don't know. The rap battle was god tier. That was great.
Yeah, I just wish it had more of episode 1 and 2 than episode 3 overall. That's what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair. Like, I would love it. I do, okay, it seems like what they're going to do is they're just going to change the genre of the show every single episode.
That would be amazing. Yeah, that would be really smart of them.
So I do hope that they explore more, like, now we have, we had death metal idols, then hip hop idols, then like I don't even know what's going to happen next. Idol idols,
yeah.
Lazy idols.
Yeah, I really want this show to succeed overall. It's just so unique, so fresh. I don't know. It just feels good to watch. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Vanter, are you watching this?
Yeah, episode 2 is like one of my favorite episodes of anime that's come out like recently. Because it's just like so much of the Ho and Kyoma that I just love seeing of him just yelling at a bunch of little idol girls. It's exactly what I need. And his whole conversation of like, oh, I know everything about Saga. It's like, oh, what's the population? Oh, I know it down to a decimal. It's like, what is it? He's like, it's on the smaller side. It's like, I don't know. I'm not Wikipedia. I'm just like, all right, I need this in my life right now.
I love how they censored Wikipedia too.
Yeah.
That was dude, he's like the most me IRL character. Like, I know I said that for Sorayori too, but this guy just, like, the way he's, like, super calm all the time, and then just screams at you whenever he gets pissed off. Just perfect.
Like, I will say, though, I'm not, like, the biggest fan of the show. Unpopular opinion, I guess.
Oh, no!
Oops.
He's got to throw down another 6 out of 10.
We're taking Shine instead of you.
It's like, I don't know. To me, the Miyano stick was fun, but like, it's almost too much for me at this point. I don't know. Maybe I'm just being like an ordinary asshat, but I
don't know. I can kind of see that, but I don't know. I think it works just because this guy has actual personality and this show has like actual jokes. Because when Aho Girl came out last year, I would kind of say that's a little bit similar because it has this very loud sense of humor where the main character's like constantly screaming and that's the joke. But that show was very like, look how stupid I am. And it's just Yuki Aoi screaming at you for 12 minutes straight. And it's just so exhausting. But this one, I can actually watch this because the guy, he is yelling a lot, but at the same time, it's like, his chemistry with the girls is actually hilarious.
Yeah.
Like,
when
my
he's
favorite
trying to teach him how to dance.
Like, my favorite scene, honestly, of the whole show, even more so than the opening, was when the main character's like, I'm just wondering how I became a zombie. And he's like, dude, haven't you seen a zombie movie before? She's like, well, yeah, I have. And then they just sit there for like 10 seconds.
They're just staring at each other.
And it was just a perfect scene.
She's like, is that it? And he goes, that's pretty much it.
Yeah.
Yeah. But what were you saying, Fate?
Yeah, no, it's just like, I guess, in many senses, humor is subjective, and it's just like not my cup of tea for humor-wise.
Right.
It's like...
It makes sense, yeah. It's pretty ridiculous overall, and that's
like,
probably
I don't
why
think
it
it's
has
a
a
bad
kind
show.
of... It's probably why it has kind of lowish rank on the mall so far. But at the same time, Asobi Asobase is really high, so I don't know.
Interesting. I mean,
yeah.
I didn't know Asobi Asobase was that high. That's
it is really high. It's like in top 300, yeah.
Oh shit. Dang.
But yeah,
I mean, that
overall-
had Yuri though. This doesn't have Yuri,
it has idols though.
but it doesn't have Yuri idols yet.
Yet, yes, that's correct. Let's give them more ideas.
And to be fair, I think the girls in this show are way cute. That's my opinion, though.
The blonde biker girl is probably my favorite so far.
She's great.
The rap
I like
battle
Sakura.
solidified her.
I like Sakura as a main girl.
I like her a lot too. She's my favorite.
I don't know if I have a favorite yet.
Although the big titty geisha girl was fantastic too. Like episode, Sakura's trying to make some sort of motivational speech about like, "Hey guys, we can do it," and then she just walks up to her and slaps her. It's like, "Sakura, don't give up. We can do this." And everyone's like, "Yeah, she's right." It's like, wait, I was about to sit. No.
That's like exactly the point where you make a joke quietly and then your friend says it louder and they get all the credit.
Exactly.
That's exactly what that was.
Yeah. But yeah, I really love this show. Every episode has been an absolute blast. I think maybe the one stumbling block is, episode 3 with the kind of weird dance. But I don't know, maybe there's some point that I'm just not seeing yet. I feel like this is a show that just needs to end before we really get the full picture of it, because it's really hitting you with the element of surprise so far, and that's why I recommend this show so much. Like, if you're into airing anime at all, this is like an event that we need to witness.
Yeah, and it has no source as well, so no one's gonna
Exactly.
spoil you.
Hey, which is nice.
Which is always nice, yeah.
But yeah, fantastic anime. 10 out of 10. Next on the list, if I can open the thing back up, it is IRODUKU, short name for Irozuku Sekai no Ashita Kara, which is The World in Colors, the new PA Works original anime. You're watching this, Kev?
Yeah, I'm watching it, and I'm not really fond of it.
Hey.
Hey,
Same here.
Yeah, so PA Works have a good history of this kind of slice of life dramas. And
Do they?
As well, yeah. And as well as originals. So they're ranging from good ones like Nagina Osokara to really bad ones like Glass Sleep.
And Haruchika.
Haruchika, yeah, I believe it had
That was a
source,
novel.
though,
That
but
was
it
no,
like-
yeah, that
but
had a
it was,
source,
like-
yes.
It was like in the middle of it. Overall, Irozuku is fairly bland so far, which is kind of sad because it looks pretty good, like visually. It has a style, it has cool backgrounds, which is kind of PA Works theme at this point. I don't know. The main character reminds me of Violet. Except without any reason for being a depressed girl, like a robot.
Does she know what love is, though?
I don't think so. No.
doesn't know what colors
She
are.
knows nothing. She knows
She doesn't know
nothing.
what-
She's like
that's right.
really has no personality, which is is really unfortunate because many anime like live and die by their main character, and here she exists. And that's about the only thing we can say about her.
Yeah.
There is also really, really stupid time traveling shenanigans, like magic overall.
Yeah.
It seems like it's not really the point of the show, like explaining all this kind of time traveling system and stuff. But the way it was done, it was like just really clearly set up the show, because main character's granny just approached her. Oh, you're so sad. Oh, by the way, you're traveling back in time.
Yeah, what the fuck
was
was that shit?
Good luck with that. Nice.
And she was like, oh, like, you won't even have friends or a boyfriend to miss. And she's like, actually, she's like, too bad, so sad. Go back to time 16.
Yeah. What the hell? Why? What? I don't know. This is just so off the wall, so weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I would say that it's not enough of a reason to dislike the show so far, because it like might get better later on when characters kind of get more familiar with each other and stuff. But so far, even dialogues are pretty wooden and trite, and do not really excite you in any way. The way how it's all presented is very boring, I would say. There is no charm in this anime. And it's supposed to be about overcoming severe depression, like finding the joy in life. But there is no joy in this anime at all. Like, I don't know.
It's sucking the joy out of my life.
I don't know.
Yeah, instead of curing the main character, it's kind of drawing yourself into her instead, which is not a really good thing to me.
I think aside from the MC, like all the side characters, I think actually are pretty decent, or at least like the chemistry among them is actually pretty good. It's just the MC is just kind of thrown into it.
Yeah, they are pretty decent. I wonder what they're gonna do next with them. Like, will they even give enough focus in this anime to matter that much? Because so far it seems like all about Hitomi and Yuito, who are like the main characters.
Yeah, and I don't even like the other MC guy. I don't even know his name, but like
Yui,
I'm not even that big on him.
Oh,
it's all the other side characters that are actually like good.
I don't know. They are just both kind of not there. They're just really similar to each other as well. They're like boring, depressed teens, and they just do not really work so far. They just say these little cute things which kind of supposed to mean progression in their relationship, but they just seem so awkward and so trite and banal. They do not really work so far. I don't know.
Yeah, I guess I could see that.
I really do not like shit on anime, even though I do it all the time. But I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Again, I am completionist. I'm watching all the anime I'm starting till the bitter end, so we'll see where it goes.
I also don't understand. I think I've seen this another time in anime too. Like the whole, "Oh, I'm sad, so I can't see color." That makes no sense to me at all, and I don't know if I just can't relate to it or if that's like an actual thing.
I mean, there are some cases where like incredible depression does make you lose like certain senses, like taste, sound.
Yeah, color blindness is a serious
color
problem.
blindness seems unlikely at best.
Also, the fact that it's just like I could see like maybe a slight change, but like one day it's full on black and white. I can't see anything. I'm just like I can't relate to the MC at all because I can see colors.
It's not about even the relation to me. It's more about how in your face it's presented. Like, oh no, she can't see colors. This is so sad. Feel sad for her. And I'm like, sitting here. No, I'm not sad.
I know. I have friends that are like slightly colorblind. I'm like, I don't feel sorry for them. I make fun of them about it.
Yeah, and it's like one thing too. I feel like it's one of those things actually where I feel like if the entire show had been in black and white until like she sees Yui's drawing, and then like the whole world becomes in color, like that could be really cool.
That would have been cool.
That would be really cool.
Like Wizard of Oz back when they first had Technicolor, and so like when she's in Kansas, it's in black and white, but then when she goes to Oz, like everything turns into color.
Yeah.
And, like it's like considered such like a revolutionary moment. Sure, like would have been taking a leaf out of that book, but I think it might have worked for PA Works. I don't know.
Yeah,
for me,
I also believe that.
Sorry,
just to very quick now that probably creating an anime in black and white is more exhaustive from resources. So
yes,
that was true.
That was true of Gunbuster episode 6.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly. Yeah. But it's just like, so PA Works and I have a rocky history, which is why I like not so jokingly said when you said like they're so good with like certain slice of like we, Cav, you and I have disagreed. We have disagreed.
And
we have disagreed about Sakura Quest.
Sakura Quest,
before.
yeah, that's true.
And to me, like PA Works, Mal was my least favorite studio of all time, below like everything else. Until I watched Nagiasu and Hanairo. And so I was like, oh, like maybe I can like PA Works when they like work in tandem with Mario Koda. Cause like I would also like Shiropako. So it's like, I'll give PA Works a try again. Maybe I'll like it this time, like an airing show. And like this just has all the same. Like, I just feel like the character designs are very, like, everything has so much same face to it.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't care about the characters. I don't know the characters' names. And it doesn't, for a studio that, like, prides itself on, like, looking so beautiful and, like, having such great art, like, I don't see it, really. Like, I'm never, like, watching it, I'm like, wow, this is, like, such a gorgeous anime. Like, the character designs are so good. Like, the animation, the character acting is so good. It's just, like, it's just, like, run-of-the-mill kind of anime.
Just, like,
also,
slightly above average kind of thing.
Yeah. Exactly, that's a good
like-
way to put it. Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're really standing in the shadow of Kyoto Animation. Like, they clearly want to be KyoAni, but they're just not quite there. And like again, this show kind of looks like their style, and for the most part, I actually like the look of this show. I think just overall the design work of it was fine, and I thought that I wanted to say I'm gonna kind of play devil's advocate with the colorblindness issue that you guys were bringing up, just because that's just the easiest way to show it in animation. Like, you know, if you're going to have a visual sort of piece of media, then obviously might as well make it about visuals as much as you can. So I think it makes, it at least makes sense for an anime to be about like a colorblind girl, even if the reason is fairly arbitrary. And for what it's worth, I think that one scene where the guy's painting basically came to life, I thought that looked very beautiful.
Oh yeah, that was gorgeous.
It was nice. Yeah.
It was nice. It also felt a little weird, like out of place, because she's like dancing, she's like dodging away from the fish. And I kind of wish we could have seen her from like the guy's perspective, like how it must have looked to see this girl like randomly ducking and dodging. And also, like, this is the girl like he suspected like of breaking and entering into his house. It's like bobbing and weaving imaginary fish that no one else can see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't
know.
I'm not into this anime either. I don't know if it's necessarily because I think it's bad, but also I was also a little bit biased because I legitimately thought, like, going into this, I'm just like, this is going to be a melodrama and I'm not going to be into it at all. And then it turned out it's a melodrama, and
what?
I'm not into it at all.
Melodrama? What has P-Works ever done a melodrama before?
Oh, right. You know, but I can see this down the line. If it sticks the landing, I can see this being one of PA Works' fringe masterpieces like Hanasaku Iroha, like that sort of tier. Maybe it won't happen. Maybe it'll flop and be one of their forgotten anime. Like, I don't even.
Glasslip.
Glasslip,
Haruchika, the
No,
horse
Glasslip
girl,
is not forgotten. It's because it was so bad. Actually,
no one can forget Glasslip.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can see people enjoying this sort of thing, but once again, it's just like, I'm gonna pass out watching this.
Yeah, that's fair enough. That's fair enough.
Yeah, I'm with you there. Very with you there.
Yeah, so have fun with that, everybody. Instead,
we're
I'm
very
watch...
positive.
Yeah, I'm sorry for this being the most cynical podcast ever. But what
also,
I am going to watch... Oh, what's that?
Isn't that on High Dive, or is that on, like, Amazon? Because it's also not even on Crunchyroll.
Oh, I thought it was... Yeah, this is Amazon.
Okay, yeah.
It's Amazon Prime.
And that's also another reason why, like, most people aren't watching it.
Fair.
It's also really funny if you watch it because, like, the first, like, 2 opening scenes of it are just, like, tons of subtitles with, like, disclaimers, like, this may contain, like, adult situations, violent actions, and coarse language. And I'm like, it takes up the entire fucking screen, and I'm like, thanks, Amazon?
Yeah, did you see Grand Blue?
Oh, yeah.
Grand Blue was really bad with that.
Dang. I didn't see, I only read the manga, and then, like, I saw a couple scenes of it on YouTube, and I was like, I don't want to watch the adaptation anymore.
You were correct. Yes.
All right. Fair enough. But next anime, the one that I will be watching and am watching, is Yagate Kimi ni Naru, which is Bloom Into You, the new Yuri anime. Except
I really hate that it's labeled as just another Euro anime. It's like one of the better romances of recent years.
Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
We need to get
It's
this
not on
across.
ice.
This is not citrus.
0 citruses
0
out of 10.
0% citrus. No citrus.
0%.
No oranges. No lemons. 0%. Yes.
0% citrus. I love it.
Yeah.
No citric acid.
This is actually good. Well, I don't know if I'd say it's good yet, but it's interesting.
It's not citrus.
It's not,
Yeah.
it is
There's
not
like-
citrus. That is a huge benchmark. I feel like I watched this anime not specifically because I'm into Yuri, but because I need something to like get this orangey, tangy taste out of my mouth.
A palate cleanser.
Exactly. I've had this sitting with me for 9 months now. We need to get rid of it. And Bloom Into You, it's doing it so far because the main character is not... So this is about a one-sided relationship so far. The main character meets this other girl who immediately falls in love with her, but the main character is not into her back. And I thought that was really interesting. And I think only 2 episodes are out. If the third one is...
No, the third one came out.
No, third episode
There
came
is
out.
three
Shit,
episodes.
I haven't seen the third episode. I just saw the second one.
I saw like the first 10 minutes of it, so.
But I liked that in the second episode, the other girl kisses the main character, and she's like upset
At a train crossing! Sorry.
And she's like upset because like she doesn't feel anything. She doesn't get it. And I think that's really cool. And I want to see where this goes.
So what I think is really cool is that the kiss happened at a train crossing, because train crossings are like great for anime like romance stuff, like 5 centimeters per second.
It is very popular.
Like Nagiasu, like Tamako, like a lot of these, like a lot of shows I really enjoy have like really romantic moments at like train crossings or train stations or even on trains. So like already
God.
it was
Like fireworks and their train scenes.
Fireworks.
Crickets.
I
The Shaft movie.
That joke landed.
Oh shit! I have avoided that.
Yeah, it's awful. They had a whole
God,
scene on
I've
a train
heard
and it
terrible
wasn't
things.
good.
Oh man, damn! They did the trains wrong. I even watched
Yep.
Rail Wars purely because of the trains.
Yo,
So-
fetishist, man.
Happy Party Train, my favorite Love Live Sunshine
Train
song.
otaku.
Kotetsu no Kabunari. Anyway, this is getting out of
This section is
going
a
off the
train
rails.
wreck.
Yeah.
Lord.
But
I want to get hit by a train.
we'll cross that when we get to it. But when I was went into this completely blind. Not colorblind. Like I went into it without knowing anything about the show. I was like, Bloom Into You. That's like a vaguely Yuri title. It's because like like flowers are like fruits are technically flowers. So I was like, there might be some Yuri, and then like it goes on, and she's like, oh man, like I've never fallen in love, and like when a guy confessed to me, I didn't feel anything. I'm like, this is gonna be a Yuri show, isn't it? And then she sees the senpai, and then the girl turning the guy down, and she's like, oh my gosh. I'm like, oh, this is definitely a Yuri show. So like 10 minutes in, it's very obvious where this is headed. And I with you, Maz, I mean, like, of course there's spoilers for like the first 2 episodes here, we've discussed about, but when like the kiss happens, it doesn't feel like it did in Citrus, where it felt like sexual assault, like someone clearly did not want to be kissed there, but it felt like one of those moments where like 2 people who like might have feelings, might not have feelings, get caught up in the moment, and it's like it just like kind of builds to it, and it was presented in a very romantic light, right? Not in like a very like sketchy light. So there was something about that moment that like really drew me in. It seems to be building really well, and there's a conversation that they have, I believe, late in episode 2 at the coffee shop, or is that episode 3?
Yeah, late episode 2,
Yeah, episode 2, where like they talk about the one-sidedness of love, and I was like, dang, this is really sweet. There's like there's a little sketch, there's a little bit of sketch, but like it just seems like it's handling a lot of Yuri better than Citrus did. And granted, that's a low bar.
Man.
It's a very low bar. But that's how corrupted we've become after getting 100% pulp in our orange juice before.
Yeah. And also, I think that's just what happens when you get Juki Hanada. This guy is pretty great at writing like actual character dramas. At least, I mean, he's really inconsistent. He's done Kyokai no Kanata. I don't know how the fuck that happened. But I mean, he also did like Sorayori. He did Steins Gate. He did fucking Hibike. He's done so much great shit. And this show has a bit of a strength at like conveying different things without really saying a whole lot, I think. I don't really have any specific examples in mind, but I remember just watching the first episode and I don't know, I felt like I could get more out of the show than just the dialogue.
Yeah, he also did the Love Lives and Shuniko. The interesting part with Kyokai no Kanata, just because you brought it up, is because so much of it was anime original, because there was just not enough source in the background, and it was Ishidate? Ishi something. Ishidate's first like directorial debut. So that might have had something to do with that as well. Because he also did Hibiki Euphonium. And I feel like there's a lot of... Because like the way he handled those relations in Hibiki Euphonium, the first season, I feel like kind of it was handled very well. So I have a lot of hope that it'll be handled well in... Yagate ni Kimi Kimi ni Naru as well.
Yaga Kimi is usually that's how it's called.
You know, that's how you're called.
That's how I'm called. Okay. Sure.
Vanter, are you watching this?
Yeah, I am. I don't have a whole lot to say about it though, unfortunately. It's I didn't watch Citrus, so I can't even compare it to that. Because I knew I wasn't gonna like that.
That's good.
That's good. You're actually very lucky. It's Citrus I think is the show I would least recommend of any show I've seen, and I've seen a lot of bad shows.
Yeah, right now honestly I think this show looks better than the PA Works show, at least like the character designs and everything. So it's
Yeah,
it looks
okay,
better.
I thought you were gonna say
it
something.
sounds better too.
It is directed really well. It knows how to present itself correctly. Like Fate has mentioned before, that scene at the end of the episode 1 kind of draws you in as well as characters themselves, which is good. It really makes you invested in the anime.
Yeah.
So hear that.
I'm interested to see like where it actually goes, because it's like right now we're just kind of at a point where it's like one likes the other and the other one doesn't. And I want to see if it like
ends on a strong point.
Yeah, exactly.
The source is still ongoing, and it is one of the most acclaimed manga out here. Actually,
I didn't know that.
Yeah,
out here in Russia, or
no, out here in our internet,
in the world,
out here in our internet. Yeah, I must say it's probably my first contender for anime of the year so far.
Anime of the year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Year.
Wow.
Year.
That's a long time, Cav.
That's a whole 365 days, Cav.
Yeah. But it's mostly because Euro Girl sucked much. For me at least. But
Yuri
it
High
just
School Girl
gets
right.
so much right, this anime. It's amazing. I want to say lots of words about you, the main character. I really hate saying that characters could be realistic, but she feels very real and genuine.
Yeah.
Just the way how she's presented, how everything surrounding her is down to earth.
Go
on. Yeah.
Sorry, with the realistic note, one thing I really loved was when it showed her and her family, and then after the senpai came to the bookstore, and then her sister was like, oh, like, who was this special person we came by? Was it your boyfriend? And she was like, no. And she was like, oh, was it your girlfriend? And then the dad's like, please don't do that. Like, my heart can't take that. And I was like,
that's kind of funny.
Yeah, it's not like one of those shows where it's like just gonna pass over like the fact that like it's not like a show where like, oh, every family is like totally okay with their like son or daughter or whatever being like super gay. Like, some families aren't going to be okay with that, and the dad like making that comment, I think, was
it is a drama.
very well done.
Yeah, even if it was in like a joking manner, it still like puts the pressure on puts pressure on her.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Yu is also seems like a smart girl, a really perceptive one. Like, she notices a lot about Toko, about her surroundings, about her feelings. She reflects a lot about what she's feeling, how she does things, how she approaches everything. It really makes her an interesting character. I really also enjoy her initial skepticism, at least. How she's not really into this romance, how she's not into being a student council, how she's not sure, he's just an unsure teen. It's so good. It feels so refreshing to me, at least. And at the same time, there is nothing really harming about it. Like, as we said before about Slime, there are many main characters who are like, just have these girls or boys surrounding them for no reason. And she doesn't seem like that. She's just your usual ordinary girl, her ordinary life, and nothing out of ordinary happens to her. That's why she feels so genuine.
Yeah, and I
really like her.
The quote-unquote misunderstandings aren't things where it's like someone like read a situation the wrong way. It's like they're misunderstandings because the person doesn't even know themselves, so they can't even explain it to the person that's confused. Like, it's like both people are misunderstanding each other, where it's not just like, oh, why are they holding hands, or why are they sitting next to each other in class? Like, it's actually like realistic. It makes sense.
Yeah, I agree with you. And Toko as well is an interesting character. She's fairly egoistical despite being so kind of voluntarily accepting that student council position, because to me, just confessing your love and like saying deal with it is fairly egoistical, and she still pushes you towards herself despite it. So there is really interesting dynamic between two mains, and it's just like shines upon this anime and makes it a threat to watch to me.
Yeah, and I like that she doesn't like
a treat.
She doesn't like apologize. Like, she kisses her, and she's like, I'm not going to apologize because that's how I feel, and how I feel is like, I can't control that. That's just how it is. Whereas a lot of other shows like, oh, I'm sorry, like, forget it happened, and it's like, oh, did that kiss mean anything? It's like, they kissed you. Of course it means something, even if they said to take it back.
Right. Another thing I really like about this anime is the friend who's voiced by Aikiano. I don't. Yeah. I forget her name. Yeah. Saika. Like, I enjoy her dynamic and her conversations with the president as well. Like how they have that dynamic where it's like they're friends, and they like, maybe one side wants to be more than friends, so you might have some melodrama there. You might have a little bit of a love triangle, Yuri triangle. At that point, we don't have any triangle anime this season, so we need a triangle in some way or form. And also I really liked, because like we haven't had Haikyuu in a couple of seasons now.
I'm missing that.
So when they had that perfect set into a spike, it really like satisfied my bit of a Haikyuu urge.
Oh yeah,
for at least a little bit.
The one thing, just to kind of balance this out with a little bit of negativity, the one thing I don't like about this anime is I don't like the school uniforms. They look like they're wearing grocery bags, and it looks kind of ugly. Yeah.
Fuck you, Moss. Cannot.
What do you have against grocery bags, man? What they ever do to you? They hold your groceries for you.
Well, I do work in a grocery store.
Oh, that's fair. You know what? I take that back. That was
anyway. Damn, you have some fancy bags in your store.
They gotta use reusable bags, man. That way they don't get hit with like a nickel and taxes or whatever.
Save them turtles.
Save the turtles.
All right.
How's a level on Mal? I just looking at Mal. The first, like, for Bloom Into You recommendations, the first one is citrus. And it just gave me a chuckle. God.
Please die.
Citrus.
Right. Next anime on the list is Kaze ga Tsuyoku Fuiteiru, aka Run with the Wind, the production IG show about boys who run fast.
Totally
Not
not
all
Haikyuu,
of them.
by the way.
Speaking of satisfying my Haikyuu urges.
Yep, I was thinking the same thing.
This is the same staff as Haikyuu, isn't it?
I believe
same
so.
character
Because
designer.
Because I think it's the same staff who did Ballroom. And
Mhm.
this show was satisfying in a way because this show looks exactly like Welcome to the Ballroom, but not fucking horrible. Like the characters,
I kind of agree with you here, yeah.
the
like
characters
30%
actually
less
look
neck.
like people and not like things.
Not,
And
not like
this
giraffes.
show is actually animated.
It's not
So-
like Clamp had a baby with production IG.
That's
For their
a very
character
good
design.
point to put it. Yeah.
They even got Unison Square Garden back for the OP.
They did. I was so happy because like
Yeah.
Unison Square Garden was like my favorite part of Welcome to the Ballroom.
Yeah.
Like they're a great band. They're a lot of fun. But man, this has been like I don't know. It's been fun. It's been
There is
interesting.
one thing that kind of stands out it from both Haikyuu and Ballroom is that it's adapted from an actual novel.
Uh-huh.
Not light novel, but
True,
an actual
right.
novel.
That's always
Right,
And
right,
the- yeah, and the author of that novel is the same guy who wrote the show about dictionaries, which
What?
came out like 2 years ago.
Yeah,
I forgot how it's called.
Funi no
Funiwamo, yeah.
Yeah.
Wait.
Funiwamo,
That-
yeah.
Okay, that's hilarious because I dropped this show after 5 minutes because I thought the writing was terrible in this.
Really?
I'm going to assume that
I
that
think
was
it's pretty
the
good.
anime's fault and not the novel's fault because the reason why I hated this so much is because like the first scene was a flashback and then went to OP, whatever. Then immediately afterwards, it's just one guy introducing all of the characters individually. He just goes around in like this house and he's like, this is this guy's name. He does this thing. And then it's like 2 seconds where this guy spouts his meme. And they just do this over and over and over again. And characters, for me, are the most important thing of an anime. And when you have an introduction like this, when it's just someone going around in a circle playing like Duck Duck Goose with character intros, it's like
I
you're
mean-
not
mhm.
writing. To me, it's not you're not telling a story. You're just going on the Wikipedia page for the anime and just reading off the character bios.
Yeah, because I feel like
On the other hand, Moz, I would also argue that like if you're just like put into a dorm room for the first time and you see all these people, like you would hope the person who like dragged
Yeah.
you into the dorm room would like introduce these people like one at a time, be like, hey, this is this guy, this is this guy, like, and now we're gonna about to have dinner. Like, you would hope like they'd be like introducing you to the rest of people at some point and not just be like, hey, welcome to this thing, and like let the character introductions like flow unorganically.
I don't
It's also-
necessarily think the characters need to be introduced, though. Like, you could, like, if they're just going to have dinner together, I would rather just see them having dinner together and just let their personalities do all the talking in that sort of scene. Just let it all out right there. And, you
Come
know,
on,
just like,
guys, let
Yeah.
Wancer to say what he wants.
it's fine. Literally, it was just like I was thinking the same thing where it's like I was literally gonna say the same thing as Faye, where it's like it makes sense to introduce everyone, especially given the other main character guy, like the one who actually wants to do the race, because that seems like his personality. Like, oh, let me introduce you to all my friends and like get everyone to be like close and tight knit. And it's also agreeing with well, I guess going against Moz, it's at least better than like Classroom of the Elite, where it's like, oh, teacher's not here, let's just all introduce ourselves. Everyone stand up and say your name and a fun fact about yourself. It's at least better than that.
Yeah.
That's horrible,
That's
man, yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
mean,
it's not
okay.
quite like Suicide Squad level where it's like, this
Oh my
is
God,
Katana.
And then she dies in 2 seconds.
I'll give you that. It wasn't forced. I'll give you that. I still think
Mhm.
it was a pretty bad way, and there are just a billion better ways they could do it, but sure,
Yeah.
it wasn't forced.
Because it's hard to explain a whole character in a span of 2 seconds, because there's a lot more that make up a character that can just be said in an
Mhm.
introduction. But I assume more
Right.
of that will just be shown over the course of the show.
Right.
Did I
Yeah.
get you right, Moz, that you dropped it 5 minutes in?
It was something like that.
Okay.
I didn't get past the character intros. There were so many of them that I'm just like, ugh. And I don't know. I I'm not. Again, characters are just the most interesting thing for me, and I'm already like lost with that sort of thing.
I don't know. I would say give it another chance because after that it gets like really better, and characters themselves kind of stand out on their own, even though this kind of supporting cast. Not to mention two main characters which are pretty interesting on their own.
Yeah, I would say the captain. The older guy, the Daichi of the show, if you will.
Haiji.
Haiji. Is very fun. He's very interesting. He's like, there's definitely something about him that you want to know more about, and I really like that. The Kageyama, because like I can't think of like these guys' actual names. Like the guy is just Kageyama. He's Kageyama who like never picked up volleyball, but like just picked up running and went to college. It's like really fun. But also, what I'm most interested about to see is kind of like, so this anime I think is fun. The animation looks good. I used to do track way back when, so it's something that I'm familiar with and something that I'm interested in. But also, my roommate, his father is Tanzanian, and he did cross country and track in high school. And I'm just very much looking forward to the moments where they're like, oh, like. What is the guy's name? Musa, I want to say.
I don't know.
Oh yeah.
And then being like, oh, like I think you'd be a great runner, and he's like, that's prejudice to say.
Oh
yeah, it was funny.
And I feel like that's handling the racial component of the character a lot better than shows like say Kuroko no Basket or like iShield 21 have done in the past.
Yeah, and it also shows like their camaraderie, that they're like open with making jokes like that at each other's expense, and not being like, oh, I don't want to say that's prejudice because it's like, oh, maybe he won't like me. It's like they're clearly like have been around together for a while and are friends.
Yeah. They're definitely fucking. That guy and the guy with the sweater, like 100%.
What I like the most about the Kaze show is its premise that it takes place in college for once. Actually, and which means that there is no actual goal to become athletes or like pursuing the goal of becoming the best of the best in the world, which you usually see in other sports anime, and which kind of gets really tiring because you just follow this path of people struggling but somehow getting towards like preliminaries, then like kind of nationals, then maybe some world scene. It's really repetitive. It just what you see in anime, in sports anime all the time, just with different sports. But here, pretty much everyone doesn't even want to run. They just run because Haiji forces them to. They have their own goals. They study their own things. They have a lawyer. They have who else? I don't know. Like just guys who just study their own things. They just enrolled in the university and they are trying to build up some basis for their future life. And this change from your usual sports anime is what makes me really invested and interested in it. What kind of where would it go overall? There's also the thing that the goal which Haiji sets to them is unrealistic as fuck, because running 5 kilometers over like 10 minutes or so, like not 12 minutes.
And like each person has to run like a 10K. I think it's a 10K in 30 minutes. I think.
Yeah, 10K in 30 minutes or something like that. It's really really hard. It's really hard. It's like a very
I ran a
high
5K
bar.
once, and it took me like 32 minutes, and I'm like, and that was during soccer season. I'm like, there's no way I could do that. Even
5K is just over 3 miles, I want to say.
Yeah, 5K is like I think 3.1 miles or something like that.
Yeah. I think my best time was like around 20-ish minutes.
Damn, I mean that's still way better than me.
No.
But maybe if you sprint.
Yeah, that was my issue.
Yeah. It was,
overall.
Yeah.
Yeah, go on.
No. Go.
Okay, I just wanted to say that I want to see where it goes. Will it go your usual oh, they trained, and then got better and then won everything. Or more realistic approach where they trained, and failed, but still the friends that we made on the past are the treasure and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I wonder where it goes, yeah.
And not to...
I also want to comment that 2 main characters are awesome. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I agree with that. Not to compare it to Haikyuu again, but it's like one of my favorite characters of that was Tsukishima, because he was like, oh, I don't care, I'm just playing the sport because I'm playing the sport. And that's like pretty much everyone in the cast right now, and I get to see their like revelation and why they suddenly like doing it and enjoy doing it. And even through like 3 episodes, we see them like starting to stretch beforehand. They're actually like excited to go running. And even that like small character arc is like kind of nice to see.
Yeah, Suki was great.
Haiji was Fate has mentioned before, is an interesting character. I feel like they really nailed his charisma well, because you can see that he's a leader. He really follows everyone around, wants to do stuff, and people gather around him naturally. It just feels like they really got his charisma well.
Yeah, and he's not afraid to pull the strings like, oh, you don't want to run. You can go live on the street.
Oh,
I'm not going to let you stay here.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun.
Yeah, like he knows everyone's quirks and how to keep them around.
Yeah, I feel like overall the show is underappreciated, and people really need to give it a shot overall.
Yes.
I would say.
Is it people or just Maz?
Nah, it just overall feel like, oh no, another IG sports anime, man. And it's another Haikyuu, man. Yeah. And I was like that as well. But first episode really got me in.
I will also say, as someone who is in his last year of law school, kind of like the kid who passed the bar and is like going to be a lawyer after he finishes that year of school, his last year of school, like that is your last year of freedom. And he's like, I just want to go clubbing and have fun and not worry about shit. I don't want to have to like run and do shit. Like, this is my last year of freedom. I deserve this. And then when Haiji goes to the club,
oh yeah, he's like, hello friend.
Yeah, hello friend.
Can I get your number 2?
Yeah.
And how he screamed at that guy when they were out of the club. That was hilarious shit. Yeah.
How do you do this?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I have a slightly better outlook on this. Maybe I will come back to it. None of my drops are like permanent condemnations, I'm just trying to conserve time this season. I don't have as much time as I used to have to watch seasonals. So, who knows? We'll see. This is 2 cours. There's plenty of time to catch up if I change my mind later. So, we'll see. The next anime on the list is Kishuku Gakkou no Juliet. Who's watching this one?
I am not.
I am.
Wait, you are Fate?
Yep.
Oh, okay. How was it?
The first thing is to address your surprise at me watching it. It might be that I haven't updated my Mal in a little bit.
Okay, here's the thing. Like, I was kind of getting to this. I'm like, hang on. It says nobody on this podcast. I'm like, I'm going to look like such a fucking idiot in like 5 minutes.
Bex had PM'd me like earlier, like last week, being like, hey, Fate, are you going to be okay for the podcast? I see you haven't like watched any airings. And I just hadn't like updated a couple of episodes I had seen already. And I was like, fuck you, Bex. I'm not going to update any of my airings. So that'll happen after this podcast. But yeah, it's it's just like it's like a dumb kind of com-rom fan service.
It's a harem of the season.
It's not so much harem-y, but like there's like potential for harem-y stuff. It's like a main couple and there's like a lot of cute girls and there probably won't, but like you expect there to be like love. I guess harem is the wrong word, and like love quadrilateral.
A rhombus, if you will.
Just say harem, man.
Because like harem like has this idea of like one guy and multiple girls, right? But because of the girl and the guy, and like there being multiple guys for the girl and multiple girls probably who want the guy, it looks like there's gonna be some tensions that way. So it's not like, say, a nisekoi or something like that. But I don't know. It's not like really anything to write home about. It just kind of exists. It just kind of does its own thing. There's some cheap fan service moments here and there, but I mean that seems to be the theme of this season between that Goblin Slayer
and Goblin Slayer. Yeah.
Yup.
I mean,
we went for the same joke.
Right. Yes. I mean, full disclosure, I've only seen the first 2 episodes, so maybe the 3rd episode like drastically changes my opinion of it. But it's not a show where I'm like,
the main character dies and they go full Yuri.
Nice.
Can you
In a perfect
imagine?
world.
In a perfect, the purest form of love. Am I right, guys? No, see, this isn't a Yuri show because there's no mention of flowers in the title.
Or fruit.
Yuri Kumara Arashi, like it literally had Yuri in the title.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Orange
And Yuri on Ice
was
as well.
Orange Yuri?
No, not at all.
Ah,
Unfortunately.
What a disappointment.
what a disappointment! Oh,
Might have been a decent show if it was.
Ooh.
Yeah, Moz, but
I mean,
what do you think about this Juliet show?
I'm not watching it.
Oh, you're not watching it. Only Fate is watching it. Okay.
Yeah, only
Yes.
Fate. I planned on picking it up, but I just didn't have time.
damn! I could just lie about this entire show and everyone. So it's actually an anime adaptation of the hit pop single from Taylor Swift in 2008 called Love Story. Yeah. So.
Huh.
So
Then I hate it.
comp of the season.
It's the first time we get a source material based on a Taylor Swift song, and won't be the last.
Oh.
Ooh, maybe, probably. Actually,
Does
I
Taylor
don't
Swift
think
do the
that'll
OP
ever
for this anime?
happen. It is. It's actually. It's not Love Story though. It's You Belong with Me instead. It's It threw me for a real loop. It's not sticking with the source material, so I'm not a huge fan of it, unfortunately.
Okay.
But yeah. Anyway, I mean, I'm not gonna fight for the right for anyone to watch this. So.
God.
That's good.
Fair.
Good vibes, good rhymes.
Next anime that I will fight for people
Yes!
to watch for
Yes!
is the new
Yes!
Trigger anime,
Yes!
SSSS.Gridman.
I love this
What?
show so much.
Dude, this is
Oh my
okay.
god. SSSS.Gridman.
SSSS.Gridman.
I'm glad that there's someone else in this call that likes this show, because I have been very confused as to why this has a 6.8 on Mal. And I know it's Mal. I know like they have
It's Mal,
not
Maz.
the
It's
best
Mal. Don't look at the
standards.
Mal.
But still, it's like there are so many anime that I love that I totally praise on this podcast, and then they have like a 6.7 on Mal. Like last season we had Josh and Chan Dropkick. This season, for whatever reason, it's Gridman, even though I think this is an excellent show. And it's not even like one of my weird niche things like Dropkick. Again, I think that this has really great characters. It's presented in a really interesting way. I guess it's about robots fighting each other, but not specifically.
Robots fighting kaiju! Robots
Yeah.
fighting kaiju!
It is
Sorry.
not really, yeah.
And it's fucking Trigger, dude. It's hype as fuck.
So, a little background about myself. The first anime I ever saw was Brave Police J Decker. I grew up on the Brave mecha series from Sunrise. Gundam, like Wing and everything was my jam growing up. My favorite 3 movies of all time in order. Number 3 is Good Will Hunting. Number 2 is The Expendables 2. And number 1 is Pacific Rim. I love robots fighting kaiju. It's just like my jam.
Did you watch
And, like, of
Pacific
course-
Rim 2?
Pacific Rim 2 was a disappointment, I have to say. It was... I love Pacific Rim 1, but Pacific Rim 2 is like... I love John Boyega. He was great, but like... It didn't capture, like... It kind of like wanted to go Power Ranger-y in a franchise that I expected it to be like... dumb, but... Because like the first... Anyway, this isn't a Pacific Rim
your
podcast.
standard
This
sequel.
is a Gridman podcast. And like it's totally Power Ranger-y. And I fucking... Who didn't... Like... I loved the Power Rangers when I was a kid. I absolutely adored the Power Rangers. I had all like the robots. So like seeing Gridman here, and like so my dad was a huge Ultraman fan growing up, and like apparently had like some of the old VHSs and stuff. So I just watched like the Korean dub of Ultraman growing up, and like they
Damn.
make the Ultraman references within Gridman. And I believe Gridman itself, it's a reboot of like an older, like in the similar vein of like Ultraman.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just like everything I love, plus it's by Trigger. Like, how could I not love it? Like, it could be literally like go off the rails, be a complete train wreck, and just like fall apart completely, and I'll still give it like a 9 out of 10 just for being giant robots fighting kaiju.
Fate and Trains, name about to do.
Yeah, and like not only that, like the characters seem fun. I know, like I forget. Cav, you mentioned earlier that you don't like Amnesia as a plot point, and granted, I'll agree with you on that when it comes to like, say, I don't know, let's pick a trash show for example, like Index or something. And here, like, I'm not a huge fan of the Amnesia shtick, and they even like lampoon it because they're like, oh, like I guess that kind of makes you a transfer student that you don't have your memories, ha 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 ha. So I thought that was kind of funny. But yeah, I don't know. Also, the Swordman dude transformed into a sword. Like, fucking A, man.
It's a Megazord
so
shit
badass.
right there.
that character is also me IRL. Just the way he's like constantly acting aloof and talking in this weird, and like the way he's like trying to be really badass, but at the same time he's super clumsy. Like when he walks, like he tries walking out of the shop, but his sword like blocks the door and he falls over.
Yeah, he's really funny, especially when like shit going down and like the girl and the guy screaming, "Oh, he is losing. Maybe you want to do something. Maybe you want to transform." He's like, "Oh, okay." Transforms immediately.
Yeah, I love that guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah, I love
it's
the
so much
characters.
fun.
I love the characters in this anime a lot. I can see what you're saying about the Amnesia, but I think in this show it's handled kind of well because I think it fits within all the characters.
You kind of joke about me not liking Amnesia, and it's true, but in my notes there is a line that I want to say about Gridman handling Amnesia well, and I want to say about it here.
Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, it's a decent tool here because this world is fucked up. It's really weird. And with Yuta himself, we learn about this world. He learns alongside us, and that's why it works. We don't know about his past, we can only guess. But it doesn't really matter because we will eventually get it. It doesn't really matter to us so far because we don't know what it alludes to. It doesn't really create an artificial barrier for us to understand because so far everything else is engaging. And when he regains his memories or when someone goes on a long flashback explaining him what the hell happened, it would present it as a twist, not like as an annoyance that it wasn't relevant to us before. If that makes sense.
Right.
I think I like the Amnesia in here because first off, it has an effect on Rika. I think that Rika is hiding something from us. Like, she must have had a relationship with the main character in some way or something. Just like why was he at her house in the first place, right?
I mean, there are rumors that they were dating and stuff.
Yeah, and like even in just the way she acts in general. I'll get back to this, but I think with the characters, on the surface, the characters aren't like amazing. Like if you try describing them, then you probably think that they're like really boring and they're just kind of normal characters. But that's also why I like them, because they have a lot of personality to them, but otherwise they are still quite normal. And I think that a blank slate character like Yuta would fit well in this sort of thing, because it's normal characters reacting to what are becoming increasingly abnormal situations with all this shit that's happening. I think it works well in here.
Characters, I cannot say much about them, but character designs on the other hand are brilliant.
Oh my god, this everything about this show looks gorgeous to me, but yeah, especially the characters. Everyone, of course, has commented on Rika and her fantastic thighs,
I love
Very
how the
good.
director apparently made a note and basically said like, "Let there be thick."
Yeah,
Yeah.
uh,
So far,
very
that's
very
all I
public
knew about the
about
show
the
until
design
coming
work.
into this podcast was about the thighs.
Yeah. She
Yeah,
is
thank
thick,
you.
but it's not even the best part about her. I feel like overall this show, I'm like really happy that Fate likes it for the fights, for the overall, atmosphere
Also the bob
and how
cut.
it's presented.
Also
Sorry,
the
what?
bob cut. The bob
Oh.
cut girl, the purple
Yeah.
bob cut. Like I also like let's not parse it. I also love bob cuts.
Yeah,
So the girl with the purple bob cut is like very top tier.
Akane,
Anyway,
yeah.
continue. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm just really happy that you like it for the fights, for the overall premise and idea. But I feel like real meat of Gridman is that it should not be taken at face value, and every explanation for this bizarre world will come off later. I feel like it is a metaphorical show mostly, and it's more about a modern world and apathy that people feel towards each other. If you have noticed that there is almost no background music at all in this show,
yes,
it's really, really kind of slowy and awkward between characters, but at the same time, it's kind of at the same time creates tension between them and good vibes. And how everyone reacts to destruction of the city, like everyone just shrugs it off. The city is rebuilding itself constantly, and everything goes along like back on track immediately, basically.
Except people are dead.
Yeah, and there is no drama about it. I feel like it's a show about human indifference overall, how they do not really understand each other and do not want to understand each other. Like in
And
this
also
third
people
episode,
dying.
in this third episode, Akane and Sho Utsumi didn't want to check up on Yuta because they didn't want to hurt themselves. But the whole answer was just to call him, and that's it. That's such an easy solution which people usually do not even think about, and I feel like it just really ties itself well with the whole topic of connection and apathy in this world. And I feel like it's overall about this entire anime, about how destruction, how even the most horrible events do not bring empathy from people.
that's amazing. I never thought about that, but I totally see what you're saying. There's even a like. I kind of thought this was a joke or just a throwaway line, but Caliber in the third episode said, "Phones are everything to people," or something like that. And
Yeah, I feel like it's all about that, and that's why it should not be taken at face value. It's like a pretty interesting show, and that's why characters themselves do not even matter. It's more about the narratives they want to create with them. Yeah, I'm really, really surprised with Gridman. I thought it would be like a really just a homage to kaiju and like Ultraman shows, but it's way more than that so far. I'm really surprised, and I'm really, really looking forward to what's going to happen next.
Yeah, I agree. I think this is an excellent anime. Just the way it's directed, the way it's presented. Like you said, there's no background music in most of this. I think in pretty much all the scenes except for the battles.
Fights. Yeah.
Yeah, and like you said, that creates this sort of. It really. You notice the timing in the dialogue a lot more, because I watched the first episode several times. I almost did a video about the whole thing, but like I'm so interested in Rika as a character because so many of her responses are like kind of delayed. Like she heard you, but then she's like taking a second to think about it and then giving her answer. And there was even like another sort of thing that could be dismissed as a throwaway, but it's like something I think about a lot. When Rika and her mother were like kind of bantering between each other, and Yuta says, "Oh, you get along with your family really well," and she just kind of stops and she's like, "Really? I think we're kind of normal, actually." And it's like, yeah, there's it's really simple and again kind of normal, but I feel like within that there's so much going on, and I can't wait to see more of this.
Yeah. I agree with you.
It's excellent.
All right, I might actually like pick it up. I'm not watching it, but now I really want to after hearing all this.
Yeah, I think this is my anime of the season.
Damn, all right, yeah. Then
outside of Zombieland.
It's not my anime of the season so far because Bloom and 2 exists, but I'm really, really intrigued by this series. Like, it could be something which is really niche, but at the same time highly regarded.
Right. Yeah.
I think so far I'm enjoying this. I mean, Alicization is up there, but that's also because I'm a source reader for that. And we'll get to that later. Bunny Girl might be up there for anime of the season for me as well, but it depends how it goes. But like, I know whatever happens with Gridman, like I'm going to enjoy it. Like the fights are gonna be great. It's gonna be ridiculous. They did the sunrise pose when Caliber showed up, and I like screamed in my apartment. I was like squealing. I was a Buta Yarou. Hey. Oh my god! Like there was that sword, and then there was me in the same pose without a sword. But yeah, no, I fucking A, man. Gridman is so much fun. It's just so much like it just harkens back to like Saturday morning cartoons for me. So and yeah. See, that's why Gridman is great. We like them for different reasons. Mm-hmm. I like
true.
you for different reasons.
Oh.
One of them is that you're not watching Goblin Slayer.
Well, yes, that's why I like myself as well.
Well, if you want, we can talk about that. Everybody, take a shot. We're going to talk about Goblin Slayer now. Oh,
Goblin Slayer! I'm ready.
What is Goblin Slayer? First off, let's ask ourselves, what is Goblin Slayer?
I'll do you one better. Why is Goblin Slayer?
Why is Goblin Slayer? It's about a guy whose name is Goblin Slayer, and his job is being
first
a
name
Goblin Slayer.
Last name Slayer. Mr. Goblin Slayer, I don't feel so good.
Oh God. What do you guys think about this? Vanzer, what do you think about this?
God, it's such a handful. It started because I didn't know like anything about this coming into it because I don't read into anything other than I saw like the trailers. But I was watching it and I'm just so tired of this setting, and then immediately got hit with the scene that everyone knows that I'm talking about just by saying that. And I was like, okay, maybe this will be a little bit darker. It actually like, because I'm so used to an anime scene like, oh, someone gets killed. It happens so often. I'm not like, oh, that's such a bad guy. But with a scene like that, I'm like, okay, maybe the goblins are like legitimately awful things. So it actually gives some sort of reason for them. But other than that, I don't find a reason to care that much about anything that's happening. In the most recent episode that Maz, you were freaking out about the witch lady because of her witch hat.
Sorry. So, my gosh.
I didn't find anything redeeming about that character, and I just hope she doesn't come back.
Oh,
the only thing it's only nice if you like don't know any Japanese, you turn off the subtitles, and you actually like don't even look at the screen, and you just listen to Saori's voice. That's the only redeeming part of it.
Yeah. I thought there was also just so many shots in it that just made me like, I don't know if they did it on purpose, but it just made me incredibly like uneasy because they did so many really weird shots with it.
Of her
like
tits?
Yes, that one, but I wasn't even thinking about that. I just mean in terms of like the camera work and just like they're going first person and from both people's perspective. They were like breaking the 180-degree rule. And as like someone who's like wants to do film, it was just like everything about it was killing me. I'm like, these are cool shots, but you crammed too many into like 10 seconds and it looked awful.
It really felt amateurish. And the thing is, right, when you're drawing everything has to be intentional. Everything is in the storyboards. Like you can't accidentally like, oh, like this is shaky hand cam. Like because we didn't have a rig. No, it's like you purposely wanted that camera angle, so you drew it that way. Yeah. To me,
I just mean intentional. Never mind.
Oh,
go ahead.
Okay. Oh, intentionally breaking rules?
Yeah, like intentionally, like the 180 rule, or it's just like, oh, these shots are cool, but I don't know if they intended to make, like, they're all really weird and cool looking shots that were interesting, but there were just too many of them, so it made it like jarring and just not. It was interesting to look at, but then it would just, I don't know, it was too much.
No, I understand.
Yeah, it is pretty messy with the directing, and believe it or not, this is the director of Girls' Last Tour.
I mean, Girls' Last Tour didn't require like crazy directing though. It was like
exactly. It's like, how would you go from like this really pretty subtle, low key show to this?
Right.
And we're not even mentioning the CG either.
Oh god, the CG. Yeah, it's So at Comic-Con, they talked about the show, and like the way they sold it was like, has anyone played D&D and like gotten party wiped at the at the first boss? Well, that's what happens to this girl. And I was like, oh, okay. And then like my friend
what a weird way to
comes
put
over,
that.
and he's like, hey, like, do you see Goblin Slayer, the show with the rape scene? And I was like, what? He's like, yeah, let's watch it. I'm like, Nate, I'm about to eat dinner. I don't really want to watch a gang rape scene with goblins. Like, he's like, no, it's really dark and really edgy. You should watch. I'm like, Nate, we'll watch it when I'm not eating.
Come on,
so that was my first impression.
Come on. You just need to level up in badass.
To the point where I can watch like it was weird too, because Shocking 807 from the podcast, she was asking me, because she also hasn't seen Goblin Slayer. She was like, saying she heard that the scene was fetishized. And I don't even know if it was fetish. It was just like poorly, distastefully done. It wasn't like, it was neither edgy, brutal, like scarring, nor was it like fetishization. It was just like happening and bad. It was just the comparison.
I was gonna say that also just kind of makes sense, because it's like that's just something that happens for the goblins. But again, I don't know if they intended it to be portrayed that way, because it's like not making a big deal of it makes it seem like that's something they do normally, and not like, why is this happening? It's so crazy.
Right. And I feel like if it happened later, it would make sense to where like this is just a run-of-the-mill goblin thing. But when it's like the first thing and we know nothing about the goblins, like that's a weird tonal message to send.
Yep.
And it kind of reminded me of like Psycho-Pass, the differences between Psycho-Pass season 1 and season 2, where like season 1, like the brutal scenes are like absolutely brutal and they're like super harsh. And actually a lot of the like worst parts of it don't even happen on screen. It just like lets your imagination fuck with you. Whereas Psycho-Pass 2 was like very in your face with like, oh, terrible thing. Look at all this blood. Look at
people.
this. Yeah, exploding people. Look at this disembodied ear. Aren't you like super terrified that you're seeing it? And it's like, guys, like, no. So like Goblin Slayer, I feel like can't make up its mind which way to go, Vance. And I think that's a really good point. I think I'm reminded of, Hyoka episode, I want to say 7 or 8, where they watched, for anyone who's seen Hyoka, it's the episode where they watch this student film. And done. Yeah, and that's purposely done wrong. Like, they break all the rules, like so many rules free, but the only way you can show that it's like poorly done and everything is if you know all the rules and you know film so well that you know all the rules to break to make it look shoddy amateurish. And so like with this, it's like, I don't know if you know all the rules well enough that you're like... Mm-hmm.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, did you do that on purpose, or did you just like want to change up the angle and broke a rule that shouldn't be done, and only for like 2 seconds too, and then they swapped it right back. I'm like, why did you do that?
So
interesting. Yeah, I'm not watching it. I heard a lot of.
That's fair.
I heard a lot of shit about it though, and yeah, I talked about it to source readers as well, and they warned me about it prior to airing, so I knew about what was gonna happen. So that's the reason why I decided not to participate in the Special Olympics games. Yeah.
What a good way to... The Special Goblin Kick games.
Yeah, I do not really want to have an opinion on this anime, because it's going to be just another opinion on Goblin Slayer. No, thank you.
Maz, you got anything?
Okay, look. Goblin Slayer. I like this show. Alright? I'm not upset by it. But I've got a bone to pick with the general community. Now, it might not be any specific person or any specific group of people. However, it is the funniest thing in the world to me that this is the most popular anime of the season, and it has a pretty good score. It's getting pretty positively received, even despite all the criticism. I mean, for the most part, I would say that controversy is just fueling this anime further.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, obviously.
And yet, 6 fucking months ago, a show called Mahou Shoujo Site came out and did almost the exact same thing as this first episode of Goblin Slayer. It had all this violence, all this brutality, all this rape, all this edge, and I liked that anime. I was saying, this is fine because for me, violence is like a joke after a certain level, and I would say the same thing for Goblin Slayer. This is not really much. There's not really much substance to this. It is just a show where you come and get your violence because, I don't know, I don't know what your life is like. And so I was saying that for Mahou Shoujo Site, alright? Because it's not something you should take seriously, it's just exactly what it is. And you know what happened? Everyone got mad at me. Everyone was telling me, no, Lux, Mahou Shoujo Site is a bad anime. The main character's really bad. It's not believable at all. It's way too edgy, okay? It's terrible, Lux. You should feel bad for liking this. And now 6 fucking months later, the same show comes out, and it's the most popular of the season! What did I do wrong?
I mean, you're not entirely correct because Mahousuku no Yame was really popular as well, and people were bringing up problems.
Mahou Yome was nowhere near this level of edge, though.
Yeah, but
it had the ice.
I don't know. That's an interesting comparison, though. I need to think about it, but I feel like it's probably because Goblin Slayer just has the more mass appeal. Overall,
to the
like by
teenage
default.
Boys.
Yeah, it's got that isekai spin.
Yeah, exactly. And Mahousuku no Yome was kind of on an awkward side of higher entry level, and that's why the buzz that generated by it wasn't as high-pitched as with Goblin Slayer.
Cav, did you mishear Ma's talking about Mahou Shoujo Site and here as Mahotsuka, or is this a completely different comparison?
Oh, I thought it was Mahousuku no Yame.
I was really confused.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense.
I was like,
now.
I just want to clarify.
It is pretty funny because Mahousuku no Yame also has problematic scenes with it.
Yes, it does.
Nowhere
it's also
near
really
on this
terrible.
level, though.
Nowhere near this level.
It depends if slavery or rape is worse, BH. So, yeah, your mileage may vary, as they say. But I must say,
I don't think anyone has said that in the history of the world when comparing slavery and rape before. Cav, I'm glad you were the first.
It's just so obnoxious to me that Mahou Shoujo Site first started and it had an attempted rape scene. And everyone's like, oh, this is terrible. This is garbage. Who would watch this? And then 6 months later, Goblin Slayer has a rape scene. They're like, yep, this is a good anime. I would totally watch this every day.
Moss.
Okay.
The problem is...
What?
One has
Source
Mahou
readers
Shoujo with the title.
Oh no!
And that turns away all the edgy, horny teenage boys.
If only it was called Goblin Slayer Site.
If only it was called Goblin Shoujo
prequel.
Site.
Mahou Shoujo Goblin Slayer
Site.
I must say, even though Goblin Slayer generates lots of negativity, memes are pretty funny. So
I genuinely love Goblin Slayer and how simple-minded he is because it does create some really great memes.
He's just like, I'm just here to slay goblins and do literally nothing else.
Okay, I've seen like pictures of that redheaded girl being like, "Hey, Goblin Slayer, do you want to have sex?" And he's like, "No, whore, I want to kill goblins."
Yeah. You want to slay some pussy? Pussy? Is this some kind of goblin kind? Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
My favorite meme is one that's not even a meme. It's just that if you go on the Mal site and you look up characters and staff, his childhood friend is literally like, it's whatever her name is, and in quotations, cowgirl. And at first I was like, I don't remember any cows being in. Oh, right.
That's
those
hilarious.
udders though. But yeah, like, see the.
Well, no, I think like the opening scene for like episode 3, she's like tending to some cows. So
is she?
I think so.
Honestly, I only care about the goblins.
It's literally like half a second that there are cows in the scene, but apparently that's a distinguishing feature for her.
I hate goblins. They're coarse and they're harsh and they get everywhere.
They get everywhere.
But
God, Goblin
all right.
Slayer.
But on my actual opinions for Goblin Slayer, I would pretty much put this in the same vein as Mahou Shoujo Site. I think it has a very simple appeal to it. It is just simply a very violent, dark fantasy. I actually expected this to blow up the way it did because some people were saying that it was the new Berserk, and I'm like, okay, you're overreacting, and obviously they are overreacting.
That's memes. You fell for it.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Well, I didn't fell. I knew they weren't being serious or were just idiots. But anyway, what the fuck was I going to say? Oh, I think it's just a very simple show, and I'm kind of using that. The fact that it has kind of a simple appeal to it as a shield for any other sort of criticism, because a lot of people want to say that oh, but the goblins are they don't have any personality, all they do is rape people. I'm like, dude, the show's called Goblin Slayer. It's not called goblins. The show's about the guy.
Goblins have a personality.
I mean, if you want to,
it's not like Slime, where the goblins are giving personality, because it's about Slime interacting with the goblins.
It's not like Shinsekai Yori, where you're against a sort of enemy force, and you actually have to think about the morals of it. Just go watch Shinsekai Yori, dude, if you want to see that. I think it's just fun. It's just a dude named Goblin Slayer who loves to be a Goblin Slayer, and that's
First
that.
name Goblin, last name Slayer.
Exactly, and I don't really think there's a whole lot to say about it. I just think it's funny, I think the dude's cool. I love him in his armor where he drinks the soup, and it's so stupid.
He's drinking the wine through it. I'm just imagining him pouring it all over the front of his face and goes, "I guess I have to live with this now."
This is my life.
Yep.
Goblin's the name. Slane's my game.
Hey, good rhymes, good vibes. Goblin Slayer. Yeah, it's I mean, it'd be one thing if it was edgy and good, but it's just edgy and good. It'd be one thing if I thought it was edgy. For my own personal enjoyment, because you can have edgy shows that are good. Fate Zero is pretty fucking edgy, and I still very much like it.
Fair.
Psycho-Pass is pretty edgy, and
Berserk
I still
is
like
pretty
it.
Edgy.
I feel like edgy also.
Mm-hmm.
What were you saying, Moss?
I said Berserk is pretty edgy.
Oh,
That's
okay.
true.
I thought there was more to that. Oh, yeah, but I mean, edgy also comes with you need edge for a reason for it to be good, whereas this just is
edge for edge.
Edge for edge. Yeah, exactly. And it's just all of episode 3, nothing happened that was edgy. So I'm you have these insane scenes of edge which draw people in, but then you just slap them around with oh, here's 20 minutes of just people talking and setting up, going to go kill more goblins.
Oh.
I'm I didn't watch the show for some exposition. I just
it's
wanted.
I just want Goblin Slayer slaying goblins.
Yeah, it's not good enough to keep my attention, but it's not just go out and kill things level. If it was better, I'd be okay with it. But if it was not there at all, I'd also be okay with it. It's just not the perfect mix, I guess.
Yeah. It's trying to do both. I feel it's trying to be deep too at times. Talk about his past when he does the whole imagine where he talks about it in the third person about all the shit he went through.
Yeah.
And imagine seeing the goblins take over a town. Imagine seeing the goblins killing everyone. Imagine hiding and not being able to say anything while the goblins take your family and make them play things before killing them and eating them. Imagine that. And then you see his flashbacks and you're oh, that's his backstory. And then they don't expand on it. They just leave it there. They're yeah, that was really edgy, right? It kind of reminds me a couple years ago, I for some reason found myself at a Chainsmokers concert.
Nice.
And the dudes were doing Closer, and then the one guy was singing the lines and was hey, I was doing just fine before I met you. I drink too much and that's an issue, and I'm okay. And then he stops and is that's the realest shit I've ever written.
Wait, he said that out loud?
He literally said that. He literally
God.
said that about them. So I just had that moment, and I just felt Goblin Slayer was the author was yeah, that's that real shit right there. That's how I felt about the backstory.
I don't know if you got it, but that was really deep. And in case you didn't pick it up, I'm going to tell you it was, so you think that.
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about Goblin Slayer. Like, it's not the worst anime of all time. I don't think anyone's going to say that. But it's just like... Yeah, it's like, I'd say like Gare Zero, Akame ga Kill kind of tier for me. So...
That's fair. But, yeah, that's good. That's it. That's it for
Goblin Slayer.
That's Goblin Slayer. And that's it for the new sort of shows, all the newcomers of the season. Now we're going to get into the sequels of the season, starting with the third season of Index at long last. Fate, how was that?
Oh, boy.
Oh, no.
A little bit of context. I really became a part of the R anime community and like got sucked into the community when they did the first Railgun Index rewatch, and I absolutely loved Railgun. It was great. I love that rewatch. It's one of my fondest memories of being on the R anime subreddit. Mm-hmm. And then people kept joking, be like, "Ha ha ha! Wouldn't it be really funny if Fate like hated Index?" And he was one of those people who just loved Railgun and hated Index. I was like, "That's not gonna be me. That sounds like a terrible fucking person to me."
I see where this is going.
Oops. Yeah, Index to me is weird. I feel like there's so much potential for it, but it just like trips over its own self. And that's its own problem, like podcast for another day, I guess. But Index 3, I feel like just has many of the same problems that Index 1 and 2 had before, where it's like convoluted for convoluted's sake. Holding up, like there's this one point in the season so far where like the villain is like, "Oh, like don't you want to know about like everything that's happened so far? Well, let me tell you." And as he's about to tell the other person, like a giant flaming wall descends upon him and like cuts him in half and kills him.
Oh,
that's pleasant.
And I'm just like, at that point you are literally just not telling us because you don't want to. Don't like bait and switch us. Like everyone could see that from a mile away as soon as he said, "Well, I'm gonna tell you right now." Really, where's the flaming wall? Okay, there it is. Now I'm dead. There's like really cheap fan service that doesn't need to be there. Especially with the lollies too. God, the Index author loves his lollies so much. It's really problematic. Why is Misaka in middle school? Yeah, but I mean, it's Raildex. I love Misaka. She's a great character. I really like her portrayal in the Railgun manga the most, because that's mostly free of the author's intentions, because it's mostly in the hands of the mangaka, with the author's input here and there. But Index 3, the thing I'm most happy about Index 3 is that we're going to get Railgun Season 3. That's all I'm going to say about that.
Right, this started like some sort of chain reaction, I guess.
Mm-hmm. They always seem to like alternate, which is a really weird fucking watch order, because like Railgun by its nature is like way behind Index timeline wise, because they do like an arc before the first arc of Index, like the first real arc of Index. So like they're always offset by like a month in the story's world. So like if you go Index Railgun, the way broadcast is, you're like constantly jumping back and forth between months and like time stuff. So you're like, "Oh, this was already resolved. I guess now we can watch it from the other point of view, even though this is already resolved like 2 seasons ago."
Weird.
Yeah. Don't watch it broadcast order. Watch it Railgun and then into Index maybe, or just don't watch Index and just watch Railgun, or just watch like the Accelerator episodes.
And we're getting Accelerator too.
And we're getting Accelerator, which I'm excited for. Like, you want to talk about like edgy for edgy's sake? My God, just like read the first chapter of a certain scientific Accelerator. That shit is fucking edgy as shit.
That sounds awesome.
Yeah, it's pretty fun.
You know what else is pretty fun? New season of JoJo.
Oh my God!
Part 5, Vento Oreo. This is an interesting part. This is like, I think this is the part that is like the most divisive among the JoJo fan base. Lots of people really love it. Lots of people really hate it. But we'll see. Who honestly knows? I think that for me, JoJo. So so far, the worst season of JoJo was Stardust Crusaders, which I still gave a 6 out of 10. So I think if that's like the floor, the lowest that we can expect it to go, then this is still going to be a 6 out of 10 anime. I'm hype.
I don't know. I'm kind of... I don't know what to expect from it, like, really. It's just another JoJo series, and I love JoJo.
Yeah.
I haven't given a single... Yeah, the lowest I get JoJo is 8, basically. So it's like...
Damn.
I really love JoJo, yeah. Even when it's not great, it's still really fucking entertaining. And if I am entertained, I'm going to give high score to an anime anyway.
Right.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. I heard, again, you cannot escape source readers. They tell you things.
Of course.
They say that it's like, yeah, a pretty divisive part. And that many stands do not make sense. Which is like the most upsetting part for me.
But what does Green Crimson do?
Because I feel like the stand mechanic is the most interesting part of JoJo. And how fights flow is just fairly unique overall and creates rather smart battles. And I heard that Part 5 really tests your bullshit meter at that point. That there are many stands which are going to not really make much sense and you just need to get over them. So yeah, we'll see. I can't say anything beyond that really. It's JoJo. I like JoJo. I like JoJo Part 5. So I'm going to see it like till the end.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not caught up at all on JoJo. I'm on like episode 15 of the show, so I've got
I'm
nothing.
on chapter 1 or chapter 2 of the manga. That's all I've consumed of JoJo.
Oh, I also want to say that I like Giorno, the main character. He looks pretty interesting, and he seems like an observer type of guy, which is a good, change from previous seasons where we got some really badass characters.
Yeah, it's kind of funny. I don't really have anything to say either, even though, yeah, I also like JoJo, and I'm interested in this part, but it's like on one hand, there's so much to say about JoJo, but since it's also I've only seen the first 2 episodes, and I don't really have much of an impression yet. I think Giorno's okay. You know, he's alright so far, and I can kind of see where this plot's going, but although I did ask Smurf about a theory that I had, and he said I was wrong, so who knows? But, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's more JoJo's what's to dislike, really.
Exactly.
If it's bad, it's only bad from JoJo perspective, not from anime perspective.
Right. It's in its own league at this point. And another sequel is something that aired recently back in the spring season, is Golden Kamuy, which in the spring season I was kind of trashing it in the first impressions. I said it wasn't very good, but and then in the retrospective I actually liked it. I ended up watching it to the end, and I ended up enjoying the 2 main characters a lot. I thought the plot was pretty interesting. It has a lot of different things going on. Like, there's one central plot, but there are so many characters, and they all have their own subplots that are kind of loosely related. And I love that a lot. And so, Golden Kamuy is a little bit like JoJo, where it has this very unusual sense of humor and just these really weird things that happen.
It's really bizarre as fuck. Yeah.
It has a lot of bizarre adventures, would you say?
It does.
Exactly,
indeed.
yeah. It's really how you would describe Golden Kamuy.
One of the episodes...
I mean, the fashion show was great.
Oh my god, that was like... Yeah, there's an episode where a dude, like, makes suits out of skin... And that's all I'm going to say, because I can't even begin to describe it.
There's a lot of moving parts in this show.
Yeah, and
and
it's funny because
and a lot of non-moving parts too.
It's
now
funny
that
because people were
separated.
At that point, people were really like on stakes against like Goblin Slayer, and then you have this episode. Like, you compare it. Like, you're even wondering if people, like, watch things. What's they do? I don't know. Yeah, I like Golden Kamuy a lot, actually. I don't know. I feel like it could be a lot better still, because the manga is brilliant. I've read just a bit of it. Started reading, and I'm probably going to catch up to it because I'm really liking it. The anime doesn't really do its full justice because the art is pretty subpar. They're skipping chapters and stuff like that. Meh. But the story itself, the characters, how everything ties up to each other, and factions themselves. I feel like it's really unusual for anime to have different factions which are developed as much as the main characters, and they have all the same agendas, and they are all likable as well. You can see where they are going. They have their charisma, they have their ideas they follow, and they're all clashing against each other, and it's really, really fucking high. I don't know. It's really interesting to see how it all goes forward. Yeah, but it's also kind of a show where a destination matters a lot. So I'm going to be very upset when the anime doesn't reach the end of the manga, because the manga is still publishing. So yeah, I'm definitely going to pick up the manga more and read it till the end, because I'm really liking just the way how everything is presented to us. Like, the setting is pretty unusual, characters, it's just fairly unique. Like, you do not even know what to compare to Golden Kamuy. Like, it's just so
it's very different.
Yeah.
My one criticism, though, has to be, I think I talked about this in both retrospective and impressions as well when season 1 aired, but I really wish he would tell us what his name is.
Oh my god.
Oh my god, I thought I was leading somewhere.
Like, I really wish he would let us know, like, because I have a bad memory. Maybe that's why Cav doesn't like me, because I have amnesia. But I always forget the main character's name. So it'd be really helpful if, like, maybe even every episode, he would let us know, like, in a key moment, what his name was and what people called him.
God damn it, Fate. His name is the fucking Immortal JoJo.
Immortal JoJo.
Immortal Jojikimo, though.
Yeah.
No, but yeah, it's ridiculous. It's fun. It's cool.
Definitely not for everyone, though. So
yeah,
just give it a try, and do not really be too upset by CGI bears, I think.
Yeah, that's fair.
Or people in bear costumes running down the street, not in CGI.
Oh my god, that was phenomenal. It's like, did you see a bear coming through here? It's like, he ran that way. Alright, thanks.
It's like, there's a white bear coming and running around. It's like, yeah, it was really hot today, isn't it?
Yeah, the scene where they had the Last Supper, where they
all
posed.
That's so hilarious.
Such a phenomenal, just like, and they just let the shot linger there for a little bit too, and it's like, it was so perfect.
Yeah, it's fun. Yeah, I like this anime.
Me too. And,
Me 3.
Whoa, me
awesome.
5 for part 5. What?
Is this like the only anime we all agree on liking today? That's pretty unusual.
Where's number 4? Actually, this must be the work of an enemy stand.
I wasn't actually expecting that, because again, Golden Kamuy is just such a bizarre sort of thing. It's like an acquired taste, I guess. Maybe we all just have really good taste.
Yeah,
shit.
I don't know, I'm pretty normie.
Well, speaking of pretty normie, the last show we have for you is none other than Sword Art Online Alicization, the arc that supposedly saves SAO forever and makes
Okay, guys, I have a question for you. I haven't seen Sao, but
Sao? At all? Or
yeah,
like
at all,
you...
I want to ask you a question.
That's shocking.
Is it true that it gets good now?
Okay.
I don't know. I hadn't finished season 2, so I'm doing that now that this is out.
Okay. As the resident Sword Art Online stan, I don't know why. I know why I have that title, but I do have that title now. It depends. If you hated everything about Sword Art Online thus far, maybe you won't like Alicization, but Alicization is so... It's like the best parts of Aincrad without the worst parts of everything else that came afterwards. Because, like, I guess we can talk spoiler stuff, like, Kirito is in this completely new world, and it's kind of like Aincrad, right? It's not like Gangale Online, it's not like ALO, where they're like, oh, like, it's a game, we can log in, like, you log back out. Kirito's like, what the fuck? Like, what is going on here? Like, it's truly like an isekai where, like, you can't restart, you can't get out, like, this is that real shit.
Okay.
And the, another thing why, like, Alicization, I think, has such a fond place for most people who have read Sword Art Online is, like, you can really tell it's what Reki Kawahara wanted to build up to. So I've read the light novels, and right before, so after Mother's Rosario, which I actually also really, really liked, we didn't go straight into Alicization in the light novels. We had a filler novel of all, like, the side stories in Aincrad that kind of fluffed up the season 1 of the anime. So Alice is, like, this has been out for a while in Japan, like, the actual light novel.
Right.
And it feels like Reki Kawahara, like, because the first light novel was originally a web novel submission, like a web novel that he was writing, that people asked him to submit for a contest that he won, and then got turned into this huge phenomenon. And it always kind of felt to me that, like, he wanted to do Alicization, but he always had to, like, write something else, and, like, give himself time to write Alicization. But also, like, publish a bunch of light novels, because you kind of have to do that when you're a light novel author. Like, it's expected you churn out, like, 2-3 books a year, at least. And with Alicization, you kind of just... And Reki Kawahara comes out and says, like, I was not a good writer when I first started writing Sword Art Online. Like, he fully admits it. He apologizes for it. He's like, there were so many ideas that he just did not know how to convey. And I think starting with Alicization, you get to see a guy who understands how to write a bit. And obviously, like, I'm not going to say, like, Alicization is, like, the greatest anime ever, and I have no idea. So far, the first 2 episodes that I've seen have been fairly by the book in terms of adapting the source to the anime. But again, it's been, like, 4 years since I've read the light novel translations.
Right.
But if you want to ask if it gets good, if you want, like, an isekai played straight, if you want... Yeah, like, the isekai played straight, then that's Alicization for you. There's no BS, there's no video game aspects to it, where, like, you can log on. Like, you die in the game, you die for real kind of shit. Yeah, that's Alicization for you.
Thank you. Yeah, like I said, I'm still, like, finishing season 2 now because this came out, and I was like, I guess because I had, like, 5 episodes left, and I'm now finally finishing it.
Oh, but, yeah. I really liked Mother's Rosario. Yeah, Caliber was also part of the novel of short stories, which is why, like, seems really dumb. Like, it's literally like Reki Kawahara being like, this shit ain't gonna matter. Like, I'm just trying to buy time. Here you go. Buy this. Support me. Give me money.
And then, like, one thing I heard from, like, one of my friends who's not, like, a part of our, like, Discord or our anime, he was simply talking about, like, it has very similar to, like, the original SAO, where it has, like, a good start and a good setup, and if they just do it right, they can end really well, but if they do it wrong, it can just go down as another Sword Art Online that is just average or not very good.
The ending, the ending for Alicization is going to be interesting. Also because, like, so previously every arc of Sword Art Online took 2 novels. Aincrad 2 novels, Gangale Online 2 novels, Fairy Dance 2 novels. Mother's Rosario was only 1 novel, but it was 5 episodes. But Alicization is, like, I want to say 8 or 9 novels by itself as an arc. It's crazy fucking long.
I mean, this is going to be 50 episodes.
Yeah, it's a whole year. And the first episode was, 45 minutes?
It was a hour block.
Jeez.
So 48 minutes, I want to say. But yeah, it's crazy, which is why I'm glad, because it would have been I'm even wondering if probably 50 episodes is gonna be enough. Because if you think one core is 2 novels, then that gets you to, what is this, 4 cores? That's 8 novels, so that might just be enough. But even with that, I'm glad that they waited so long, because a lot of people were wondering, like, well, between Sword Art Online 1 and Sword Art Online 2, they only took you 2 years. Why is it taking 4 years to do this? But I feel like they might have had to do like the start and stop thing. But Alicization is like such a continuous story. It's not like segmented like Gun Gale Online is so completely different from Minecraft. That it makes sense, and I really appreciate that they're doing the full adaptation for this all at once.
Yeah, and they're like taking their time to actually make it like what they want to make.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And it's also interesting because A1 Pictures has, and like the CEO of like Sony has come out and said, like, as long as there's Sword Art Online material for us to adapt, we will adapt it. So they're very committed to doing this right. And honestly, except for certain like shots of Sword Online, Gun Gale Online, where they like really zoom in on Sinon's ass, it's been a pretty faithful adaptation. But honestly, like, you do see some ass shots of Sinon in the Gun Gale Online illustrations, and it's a light novel, so it's not gonna be like, and the camera zoomed in slowly from her legs up in the light novels. So yeah, if you, Alicization to me is my favorite arc of Sword Art Online, if that's what you're asking, not including the progressives, because I can show that at a later time.
Well, I don't have the foresight for this. I haven't read the novels. I'm just, the anime is my first exposure to Alicization, and I've only seen the first episode. But here's the funny thing. Okay, so we got Gun Gale Alternative a couple seasons ago, and that was, the first few episodes were pretty good. It was like a decent action show. Nothing really wrong with it, and then it just collapsed in the second half. Right. The same thing for me happened in the first episode of Alicization. The first half of this episode was really good, actually. Well, maybe not really good. It was fine, all right? Maybe I wasn't super into it because one of the characters' names was Kirito, but still, I wasn't really sure what was going on with the world, but I liked the cause and effect of it. I liked I liked the exposition in it, because the way they were delivering the exposition in here, it was delivered through folklore. It was delivered through, like, fairy tales and shit. And I'm thinking, like, wow, has Reki Kawahara been reading some Tolkien? This is like fantasy writing 101, dude. Good job. It was actually a good start. And then Kirito woke up, and I went, oh no, it's Sword Art Online. And then the whole second half of you went from one half of the episode where it was delivering exposition really well to the second half of the episode where they deliver exposition in a fucking cafe. Yeah. So the exact opposite of good. And then they had this laughing cough shit. I didn't even know that was still happening. That's been so fucking long that I completely forgot about it.
Yeah, it's been 4 years since SAO 2, so...
And then Kirito died or whatever, and I'm like, okay, well, if he's dead, then I guess Sword Art Online is good now. But
it's complicated to get into it. I will say though, I think it works better in a light novel format, the exposition that he did, because it's just like, setting them down and being like, hey, this is the shit that just went down. Kirito just fucking died. We have to save him by some way, and this is the only way that we think we can try and preserve his body and his mind.
So wait, hang on. Treatment. So is he going to be stuck in that sort of fantasy world for the rest of the season?
Is that a spoiler?
Well, it's really just the premise of the show, I'd say.
Right. So this all takes place in the world of Alice's, that world. So okay. Alicization is within that. Yeah. So it's not yeah. I don't really want.
Okay, I think I see what you're saying.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
That does sound better than the first episode.
Right. Yeah. So you don't really get. So this is the last time you really get scenes of the outside world for a very long time.
Okay.
So he died for real, but didn't die.
In the game.
Yeah.
He died for real, but not in the game.
Inverse
But now if he
sword
dies in the game, he will also die for real, for real.
Ah, double real.
Double
dead
real.
twice.
Also, like, it's nice because you don't have to worry about... I know some people cared about the couple antics between, like, him and Asuna, but also Asuna got shafted in Halo. But, like, in Alicization, like, he very much is, like, there's no real... There's, like, a small romance thing that happens at one point, but it's, like, very one-sided, and Kirito is like, my heart is to Asuna, I don't fucking care, get me out, I need to get out of this game, I need to get out of this world. So.
Alright. Well, then maybe I won't say my metaphor about the first episode of SAO. Maybe of Alicization. Maybe the season will be good, and I don't know. I'm not ready to say that Sword Art Online is about to be saved, especially because I was about to think that the Gun Gale alternative, and that did not fucking work out well.
I think the only way Sword Art Online can be saved is if they do an anime adaptation of the Sword Art Online progressive manga. And I've said that so many times.
I've heard it a lot as well,
Yeah. Where it's all about Asuna and it goes Aincrad floor by floor with no time skips. And I feel like if they did that, you could save Sword Art Online? Maybe? I don't know. But anyway, that's just me. I'm excited to see what people think about Alicization as, like, people who are getting into it as an anime-only thing. So.
Yeah, I'm excited for, all of those fucking AniTube videos. I can't wait for, the amazing series Sword Art Online Analyzation by every person on AniTube.
You better copyright that title before someone takes it.
Including me. I should.
Yeah.
In any case, that's pretty much everything we have. It's been over 2 hours, but do you guys still want to talk about any other shows?
Not really. Fuck it.
I mean, I was gonna say Anima Yell is, like, kind of cute and fun, but, like, that's it.
Is anyone watching Conception?
No, but I heard it's hilariously bad.
I've heard things.
Yeah. It's definitely a show. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, I know many
it's
people who are
weird.
watching it and trashing it all the time.
Yep.
And I don't know why they keep watching it, but they still watch it. I have no idea why.
I don't know why I am either. I'm interested to see where this actually goes, because it's like, oh, I just have to go around and, like, have a bunch of kids with all these, like, princesses or something, but he also doesn't need to actually bang them to have the kid. It's just the connection, and it just doesn't.
I mean, that's how it works in real life,
so
too.
Weird. Yeah. You just like someone a lot, and then a kid just appears out of the sky.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what happens in real life. That's what sex ed taught me in high school.
I don't know if it... Probably my favorite part of the show is simply the Tsundere character is Cancer, and I thought that was very fitting for her character.
Oh, that's her name?
Yeah, like she's the... Well,
oh
she's like the Cancer zodiac.
That's amazing.
And then, I'm watching Skullface. That's just a classic short. I think that's pretty solid. Is anyone else watching
that skeleton show?
Might have to watch it.
I want to watch that.
It's pretty funny. I mean, it's like 11 minutes per an episode, so it's pretty nice.
Right.
I'm watching Fairy Tail because it's more Fairy Tail.
Oh boy.
Yeah.
Fairy Tail was like one of the first shows I ever watched, which is why I'm like, oh, I'm actually going to watch this.
How has the adaptation? Did you read the manga?
No, I don't read manga just because I don't have time to do that.
Right. I read the manga first for Fairy Tail, and then I started watching the anime, and then the pace was so slow that I just went back to reading the manga. So I finished it. So I'm really interested to see, like, what happens with this final season. Like, how are they doing it so far? Is it like, because some of the fight scenes look really good in Fairy Tail.
Yeah, I mean I only saw the first 2 episodes. I haven't seen episode 3 yet, but it's just it's just more Fairy Tail. It's very much like, oh, suddenly there's an enemy that you need to fight, and you just so happen to be there to save the day, and it's just like kind of weird power ups. I don't know how they're gonna do it with, like, Natsu's like super OP now, and I don't know how he can just walk through everyone probably. So I don't know where there's gonna be a real conflict until the very end of the show. Yeah,
that was just really dumb with End and all that.
Yeah,
Ezra's still my favorite though. Ezra and Gerard. So.
Yeah, I think honestly probably a lot of it is just, hopefully at least it's just them trying to find everyone that they're looking for, and that'll be like a lot of the show, and then it'll just be like a big fight at the end. But honestly, I have no idea where it's gonna go.
Yeah, it's I'll be interested to hear your thoughts on the ending, because I have some thoughts on the ending of Fairy Tail.
Is anyone watching Double Decker?
No.
No. Well, all right then. I don't know. I think it's good. It's it blends it's like a fun watch because it has like some comedy elements to it. It's got like the buddy cop type show to it. It actually does the CG like not poorly at times. So it's actually like, I notice it's there, but I'm not turned off by it. Like it looks fine. And I don't know. I felt like it's a very like Kekai Sensen, like Blood Blockade Battlefront type feel to it,
right?
Where it's like serious moments where they're like fighting crime, but then it's also like can be funny at times.
That sounds cool.
Yeah. And then I'm watching. Go ahead.
I just have one show. I'm just watching Karakuri Circus. It's a cool little shonen about these puppet masters. They fight using puppets, and it's really cool. They have all. It seems like a shonen that'll have all these cool different quote unquote powers and these interesting fights, and I like it so far. I've only seen one episode, but it's nice.
Is anyone watching Radiant?
I'm not.
I saw one episode and it was bad.
Yeah. I saw the first episode as well, and I was just like, nope. I was kind of interested because it's a French manga made into an anime. So I was like, oh, maybe it'll be like interesting. And even though it looks like a very generic battle shonen, maybe it won't be. No,
I heard it had a cool setting, and that kind of made me want to watch it. But I don't know. First episode was just,
yeah.
I wasn't interested anymore.
And then I'm also watching Release of Spice, but I don't have a whole lot to say about that. I just like I like the soundtrack for when they're fighting, but they have the same soundtrack when they're fighting people that they have when they're just standing around talking. And it's like techno music, so they're just standing there talking. It's like blah 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 in the background. I'm like, this doesn't make any sense. Like, why is this song your choice?
I was really surprised that the soundtrack wasn't by Taku Iwasaki because it sounded exactly like his style to me. Is anyone
else watching it?
I saw the first episode.
Okay,
I'm planning on watching it, but
it's basically Princess Principal, but more moe and not as cool.
I didn't watch Princess Principal. So that's probably why.
I did like Princess Principal.
What was that? Better.
I like Princess Principal, yeah.
Okay. Well, that was on. I don't think that was on Crunchyroll. That's probably why I didn't watch it.
Yeah, it's High Dive.
Yeah, okay, I'm really honestly sad that Funimation and Crunchyroll are ending their partnership after Sony bought Funimation.
RIP.
Yeah.
But High Dive is going to be doing a partnership with Crunchyroll because of it now.
Yep.
Which
is going
to be interesting. Yep. I mean, I don't watch dubs anyway, so.
Yeah, I rarely do. At this point.
Yeah. But anyway, I think.
Yeah, that's everything I got.
I hope that's it. This was definitely the longest impressions we have ever done so far. Even though we had, I think, less shows than the other ones.
Yeah, it was. We were actually talking about this before the record in the pre-pod that like we don't have that many shows, but I think. And Cav, you can talk about this too, because it was a point you initially brought up that a lot of these shows this season are like, you're not supposed to judge a book by its cover, yada yada, but like, it's very kind of clear which shows like people are going to like and people aren't going to like. There's like no real plot twist. I mean, I guess Zombieland, but there's nothing that like is gonna be like a hidden gem or like this really popular good casual show. It's like you get what you get. So if you don't want to watch it, you don't have to watch it. Yeah.
I would say Gridman is the hidden gem.
Is it hidden? Because it's super popular in Japan.
It's not. Maybe not in the West.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe because everyone's turned off because of Darling the Franxx. That's part of the reason why I didn't start it. Because I'm just like, I just
got you, Darling and the Franxx.
I still enjoyed at least the start.
Kaiju as well aren't really particularly popular in.
Right. It's a much more like Asian like. Japanese thing to like really like giant robots fighting kaiju, I guess.
Because I mean, I still enjoyed the start of Darling, and I'm like, I'm just good on Trigger Mecha right now. I might watch it if it's good, but now that I've heard that it's actually good, I'll probably start it.
Yeah, the thing with it's so funny watching Darling in the Franxx interviews with like the Trigger cast, not Trigger cast, Trigger staff, and like hearing people talk about them at panels, and then them being like, oh, so like, what'd you think of Darling in the Franxx? And they're like, it was a really interesting project. I think we'll use it to evaluate our future partnerships going forward. We
Period.
had a
Very
time.
polite.
We had
Diplomatic as
interesting
fuck.
time. Yeah. It was nice hearing A1 Pictures or Cloverworks' feedback on certain things that they wanted, and then them bringing in Sony to be like, yes, do those things, and then having to do those things. It was really fun. So
Ouch.
yeah, it's very fun. And like I know a lot of people want to like split like very black and white. These are the things that everything that Darling did right was Trigger, everything that Darling did wrong was like, I'm just gonna call it Sony that Sony did. And it's obviously not gonna be as clear as that, right? But like whenever, and we don't really hear interviews from the A1 Pictures Sony staff, so we were not getting their side of the picture. But from everything from Trigger that we're getting, and of course we're going to be more exposed to that because they're doing a lot more cons in the West, and they like we have those interviews translated. They seem to not ever want to do anything like it ever again. So
Trigger's trying to save anime, but Sony's trying to kill it.
I mean, Sony's the one that's doing Sword Art Online, so
Yep. And they killed Funimation.
they didn't.
Well, they killed
bought
the partnership.
They killed the partnership.
Yeah.
Makes sense from their point of view. Does it actually? I don't know. Maybe it's not a good business decision, but I'm sure there was some like legality to it. Maybe. Anyway, that's
another podcast
That's another
episode.
podcast, yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah,
thanks.
business
For
of seasonal anime.
Yeah, go on.
Wait, what, Cav?
I just wanted to say that I want to make a bold prediction that Gridman is going to be the best Trigger anime since Kill la Kill.
I mean, is that? I mean, there was Kisniver, there was Little Witch.
I mean,
Academia.
Kisniver and Little Witch Academia, I think, are pretty good. So
Yeah.
There was
They
Ninja
are
Slayer.
pretty good, but they aren't really good.
Fair.
So,
Yeah.
We'll see.
Are you just gonna pass over Ninja Slayer like that and Space Patrol Ludico?
Space Patrol Ludico, yeah,
Ludico.
that's maybe my favorite anime from Trigger besides Kill la Kill.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right, I gotta go because like people upstairs are making a shit ton of noise. So now this podcast is about to get unlistenable. Thank you everybody for listening to this whole 2.5 hour podcast. Assuming you listened to the whole thing. If you just listen to segments, then whatever. Thank you anyway. You know your click still matters.
Yes.
We still got the
subscribe
views.
to us. Yeah, subscribe to us. We're on YouTube. We're on Spotify. We're on Podbay. We're on we're on the internet. You can find us, listen to us. If you subscribe to us, you get our episodes as soon as they're released, as soon as they're dropped, which is great because then you can be like, oh shit, my favorite people talking about my favorite things. Or maybe you won't say that. I don't know. I'm not here to judge your life.
Yeah. And check out our Twitter at Tokyo Podfathers. Join the Discord server if you haven't. Talk about anime with us. Sign up to be a guest if you're interested in the future. And that's it, everybody.
Keep slaying them goblins.
Oh, yeah. Fate. I almost said Fate and Taylor. Fate, Cav, and Vancer, thank you very much for joining me on this episode. It was an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, thanks for having me again.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course. And everybody else, stay hydrated. Toot-toot-oo.
Good vibes. Good rhymes.
Yeah.
We really went overboard with this.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was quite the pod.